WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Well, last night was a night to forget for the Bruins, who got run out of their own building by the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-1. The Blue Jackets scored twice while they were shorthanded in this one, and goaltender Elvis Merzlikins made 28 saves in net. Charlie Coyle scored the only goal of the game for the Bruins. They've lost 3 in a row. They host the Utah Hockey Club Thursday night. The Celtics, meanwhile, have a big early season game to play this evening at TD Garden. They'll face 15-0 Cleveland in their second game of pool play at the NBA Cup. Joe Mazzulla can't wait.
Better crasher, better. They're crashing as a team. They're cutting more as a team, opening up gaps for those guys to grab the ball, and they're shooting the ball really well, all those guys. And so, yeah, they're just they're playing at a high level right now for sure, and they got a lot of talent. But I think some of the small tweaks that they've made, and they're cutting, they're crashing, and then just their ability to shoot the ball.
Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell have the pregame at 6:30 and a tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Peyton Pritchard is questionable with a sprained thumb, but Drew Holiday is ready to go. Kristaps Porzingis remains out, but the team announced yesterday he will practice with their G League squad as part of the next phase of his recovery. The Patriots will practice tomorrow. They visit Miami on Sunday. Former Patriots wideout Tyquan Thornton is signed with the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad, and the Houston Texans blew out the Cowboys in Dallas last night, 34-10. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by South Shore Bank. At Beatles Bank, sharing your success and growing your business is what Above and Beyond Banking is all about. Visit SouthShoreBank.com, member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. 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 Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Super about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na. Is it okay to use this for the radio? Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Oh, I love Cinnabon. Dip it. I want to dip it in.
All right, man. I got to let you go.
Hey, excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy.
Little acai bowl caught in your throat there, Freddie?
Yeah, and power balls. Power balls. Loading up, baby. The teen. Getting a little teen and getting shredded for the winter.
Gotta do those shops.
Yeah, you know, I push steel, so it's not so much but body weight exercises in a pinch, dude, are fine. You know, then I get in the cold plunge.
Dude.
I'll
show you.
Dude, Maiden. Wednesday night in Worcester. You in? Dude, it's been 5 minutes since I called. You haven't gotten back to me.
Shows tomorrow night.
Need to know. Maiden.
Shows in 6 weeks. You gotta let me know right now.
Dude, remember I asked you 7 years ago if you wanted to go see Maiden? Dude, Maiden.
Wednesday night in Worcester.
And I would love to see Iron Maiden. It's the original lineup. Like, I'd like to see Iron Maiden, but I think it would be either funny or like a grand spectacle. But the Worcester on a Wednesday night not happening. We are in the Town Fair Tire Studios, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can always call us 617-779-0985. And what else? Oh, we were on YouTube, so you can see us there.
So, Fred, you've seen this footage up there on one of the news programs this morning about the brush fire there at the Blue Hills Reservation.
Yeah.
Fear not, I have already reached out to my contact at the Canton Fire Department. who I believe was involved in probably a multi-department effort last night. There was some high-level chestnut checkers firefighting stuff going down there last night. And my daughter comes running into the bedroom just as I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm like, what? No, I didn't say that. But I was actually brushing my teeth, and I heard Marcy say, oh, no. I go out, and I'm like, what? What? And Katie's in her room. She's showing Marcy the video on her phone of this big fire at Blue Hills Reservation, which is not far from our house. It's 10 minutes away or something. But, not that we're in fear for our home, but just this terrible, a fire at Blue Hills. What I wish I would have looked at them, because the two of them are all wringing their hands and stuff, the footage they were looking at was actually a back line that one of the departments had set purposely because there was a fire probably taking place somewhere within the reservation.
Fools.
But then they burned that back line.
Yeah. Leave it to a couple broads to not even understand that it was a backline fire.
Exactly, which I'm sure. Do you want to explain it to, I don't know, maybe Nick, who doesn't understand what a backline is?
Well, I can explain. I know I don't know if I can completely define it, but I do know that in the case of wildfires, that they will set intentional fires. What is on the perimeter of them so there's nothing to burn.
Cook,
like
maybe.
yeah, so there's nothing to burn.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
It's a controlled fire on the perimeter.
Controlled burn.
Yeah. You thought you'd get me there.
No. What a little bit I did. But the fact that they know how to do it and where to do it, and for the most part, it must work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it anymore.
Oh, it works, yeah.
That's got to be a ballsy thing to do, though. Let's set a big fire in the driest drought conditions this area has had in decades. We're going to purposely set a bunch of stuff on fire here because that should work, and it does.
How do they control the backline fire? That's the thing.
Well, I'll tell you how. Is because I think they're on the perimeter of each side of it. So the idea is they burn it, and then there's nothing left for the wildfire to burn. Blue Hills is, I'm sure, big and everything. Obviously they're in California all the time. But if you mention like how scary it would be, those dudes and they're like special. They're not like just. I don't think they're just regular firemen because at least in this case, in the Smoky Mountains, like in the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area, there was this huge fire, and it's impossible to navigate, like because it's on this in the mountains, and it's like impossible to navigate, and so to get up there, you're dealing with I don't know, endless miles of wooded area. So there's these huge trees, and they're toppling all over the place, and you don't know where the fire is. I can't think of a.
Is that when they send in the planes that dump the stuff?
Fire
jumpers.
but
right, yeah, but that stuff like never seems to control it. Like they have to get in and set like that perimeter and everything. But they have to get into it. Like there's no just going over it. They have to get into it, and I would imagine that might be top 3 most dangerous job in the world. Is going into the that doesn't involve death at someone else's hand.
So. And in answer, I get your question, though, John. Like, how do you control the fire on the backside?
How do you know that's not going to rage out of control?
So, now I don't know. This is why I, reaching out to my contact. I would think they probably set those back lines up against or close to, like, water sources or big roads. Because if it burns all the way up to that, water source or a big road or something like that, then sometimes it can jump. Fire can jump across the road. But if you get that back line pushed, away from those things a little bit and just control the area behind it, then it doesn't have the ability to jump and spread where it wants to. You say, you go ahead, fire. You burn yourself. You burn acres and acres, but only in there. We're gonna stop the vegetation here, and we'll protect this back here, or it'll be protected via some natural or man-made structure beyond that. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
But I don't.
Makes sense if the wind doesn't blow the fire across the big street that you have set up.
Thanks, Wallach.
I'm sure they factored that in, Hardy.
Nah, probably not. They probably just couldn't.
Firefighters never study wind, and it's something you'd think they would have at least a class about.
All
But they don't know anything about it.
All they know about wind is throwing caution into it. Hey. They don't care. They're just like, screw it. We'll let this whole thing burn. As long as it doesn't happen in Cold Springs Park, that would be devastating.
Is that your dog park?
It's a mile and a half of wooded heaven, full of people with scowls on their faces.
Any old Playboys stashed back in there, do you think?
That might be too big of woods. Have you ever seen The Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Danny DeVito takes the kid into the woods to make a deal for his porn? No. And he uses Score magazine, which is a real magazine. And the kid takes a picture of him, and then Frank gets on a sex offenders list. So, because the kid's in high school. I have a question for you. This happened yesterday. Speaking of scowling, everything gets me back to Newton scowling.
Yeah.
So I pick my daughter up, I pick my son up, and we get home. I have to drop my son off, put the dog away, and put the dog back in the house because I take the dog to get him because he gets a kick out of it.
He likes going bye-bye in the car?
Well, he likes seeing the kids.
Sure.
He likes seeing them when they come in. So I dropped my son off, and I had to take my daughter to the dentist. So I'm literally just walking into the house to grab something and put the dog away. And the cleaning people are there, and my assistant and my accountant and everyone, the whole team's there.
The team is assembled.
The whole team's there.
Right.
So, but I can't I can't pull into the driveway.
Your agent, your business agent.
Yeah, they're all there. It's a meeting of the minds. They're all planning my next move. And so I park on the street, and I'm probably 5 steps from my car, and this woman can't get through. I'd parked a little bit too far from the curb, and Milo goes like, hey, this lady can't get through. And so I turn around. She's probably been sitting there 5 seconds, and I put my hand up, and I go, okay, and I start walking towards my car, and she starts shaking her head and then subtly flipping me off, like against my face. So what do you think I did?
You turned around and walked inside.
No, I couldn't do that. What do you think I did?
You asked her out.
No, you flipped her off back.
Nope. I sat down.
In the driveway?
No, I took a couple steps, and then I sat down. I took a knee and tied my shoe. And then I like if someone acknowledges to you like, my bad, I don't know, this is all my own inner moral compass.
Yeah.
But if someone says to you, my bad, like, I'm going to go fix it now. Like, I made a mistake. Like, you made an honest mistake. It wasn't like if someone cuts you off and goes like, oh, my bad, like, yeah, immediately your annoyance, I feel, should leave your body. Like they acknowledge their mistake. I acknowledged I had made a mistake. It wasn't an egregious one. There was a car on the other side of the road, so like, I think she could have gotten through anyway, but let's not split hairs. I acknowledge I'm going to do it. I'm in the process of doing it, and you're flipping me off. That seems like a little insane. Like I'm helping you. I'm doing what you want done.
See, okay, thank you. I think it's insane that if you were driving and encountered a similar situation, say a landscaping truck blocking a portion of the road, that you would drive up on the sidewalk or not stop for somebody who's trying to stop you because of your impatience.
But that's not fair. That's not even the point of the story. The point of that is, I don't know. Did I ever say I drove up on the sidewalk?
You said you would not stop for somebody who is trying to stop you.
I never said I'd drive up on the sidewalk.
Because all those people are trying to do is what needs to be done.
No. They could pull out of the driveway when there's no traffic.
If they could, they wouldn't have somebody out there
that's
holding
BS.
up traffic
that's
for a second.
BS. They're holding up the traffic to expedite the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. F you. Why do I have to expedite it? Now, listen, if they pulled out in front of me and they were like, oh, my bad, or, for instance, the landscaping truck was parked and there was a guy in it and he was blocking it, and I went like, and I honked the horn and I was like, hey, and he goes, oh, my bad, I wouldn't flip him off. And also when the guy's holding up the traffic. I don't flip them off. I think you're misinterpreting it. I don't blame her for being annoyed. I blame her for, once the situation was being rectified, to, like, that wasn't enough. Like, if the guy was trying to stop traffic and saw me and went, oh, please proceed, then I would go, okay. Even if the guy was blocking traffic, it's like, I'm sorry. But there's, like, we got to get out of here. There's something going on.
Why were you blocking traffic again?
I had not. There was a car parked on the other side of the road, and I had not pulled blocking traffic. Blocking traffic, yes, on my residential street, but I was blocking this woman. I was not pulled over for far enough. I had parked in a place. You're really connecting dots that don't connect. The point of the story was acknowledge.
I've moved on from that. I won't make any more connection with your being unwilling to allow workers to back their trucks into the road. What I want to know is why you parked the way you did, why you were blocking traffic.
I didn't. I guess because I couldn't park in front of my house, so I had to park on the other side, and I thought I had pulled over further. It was just a mistake.
Bad driving.
I was in a rush. Yeah, bad driving.
Okay.
Yeah, I acknowledged my mistake. I had made a mistake. I acknowledged it. I was correcting the mistake. The issue is that once that personal situation has gone down, and you've acknowledged your mistake and you're fixing it, I would think the annoyance of being the 30 seconds of being in your car, the problem's being solved. The person's acknowledging you're correct. I don't understand why the vitriol at that point.
Well, what happened after you took a knee and pissed her off further?
Good.
Milo said she started flipping me off again, but then I got in the car and moved it. I mean, I only added like another 20 seconds to the process. But I did not flip her off. I did not yell. I just took a knee and tied my shoe, which I thought was pretty, and my children found funny too. Because Mom was like, she's giving you the finger, and I'm like, oh, and so I got down on a knee and I started tying my shoe.
I could have sworn you would have walked back inside. That would have been a Fred move.
Yeah, good for you. Never say Hardy's not a man of his word.
This is going to be my new
Is that the hint? You want the segment to end?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
I don't think that might be, but that wasn't the case here. That was the case. This is a 6 o'clock break, and I want this known.
I'm not sure.
But
I think I may be closer to the truth.
No, I'm right.
I'm also making notes of, I keep a little diary of why Fred is a bad person.
Oh.
The whole bad parking and then doubling down on the bad behavior. This woman started acting poorly. So you know what I did? I don't know, took the high road and said, actually, I'm very, very sorry. I moved it as quickly as I could.
I took the high road.
Eye for an eye.
Right until you kneeled down and made her wait another 20 seconds.
In my opinion, there needs to be consequences for that kind of behavior. You can't just go around flipping someone off.
Well, delivering consequences is the opposite of taking the high road.
I believe I took the high road, and then there was a time to teach a lesson. I mean, you could do a break. What makes Fred a horrible person, and you would find no shortage of it.
No, I don't want to do a break. I'm doing a book, and I don't want to. I don't want to give out too many nuggets from the book.
I mean, you could just do it like
a
daily break, and then I could discuss how I could justify the actions. And then maybe it would be a clean slate at the end of it once everyone got it out of their system. I could either acknowledge I was wrong, or I could explain my thinking, and then at the end of it, maybe 4 years into the process, I'd have a clean slate. It would be like a step 9 situation. I would be able to get everything out of the way. I'd be able to, we could get over our resentment together, all over it. All right.
You want to know what the chat has to say? I'll read you one comment.
I'm sure it's positive.
I bet that old bag didn't dye her hair.
No, she wasn't bad looking, which I think makes it even more
interesting.
Nice to me. Because if she was just some old bag, then it would have just been like, but she wasn't even bad looking. You're right, John. I should have come over to the car and said, Isn't this funny how we're meeting? Like, look at I've procreated. That means I know how to do it. I got a dog, real ugly one, so you know I'm cool. I'm nice. I'm sweet. I adopted the ugliest dog.
One more question. After you went through this dance and made her wait an extra 20 seconds, did she floor it past your car to show her anger?
No, I think
I'll show you.
I think she probably realized that she was that it was over. It would have been funny if she stopped and yelled, because that actually would have been funny to me, and I would have laughed. Like, I would have gone like, at that point, I would have been like, "You're insane." I did the knee thing more for the benefit of my kids, to teach them to be a dick to people. You know, like that was a good teaching moment.
If you have anything to pass down to your children, let it be that.
They don't seem to be picking it up well enough, so I'm really trying to get it in there.
I see.
I've never heard of this phrase before. Someone said Fred had a meet ugly. Is this the opposite of a meet cute in a romantic comedy?
I don't know, but I like it. Who wrote that?
That was Mark.
Hey, Mark, good job. I like that. All right, we'll be back. The Bruins are not. This is as bad as I can remember them playing. And
still not worried though.
I don't know. I'm not like, I don't think they're not going to make the playoffs, but I'm worried for Montgomery's future, because I really like Jim Montgomery, and I really hope he keeps his job.
The unfortunate part was they actually played well, and they were down 3-0.
I didn't think they played well. That's interesting.
I thought they played well in the first period.
Okay, very good. So the goaltender
was unbelievable in the first period.
But they were still down 3-0. I mean, you hit the allow 3 goals. That's interesting. Well, that's a conversation we can have when we come back. Because I didn't think I've seen them play this bad. Turnovers, like
second and third, absolutely. First period, some bad luck.
There was also some, we'll get into it after this.
Stay tuned for more touch.
Did you catch the game last night?
I meant more as like a leader, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Like an ego.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just to we carry off-air conversations on air. We're Toucher and Hardy. All right. A game we all watched last night. Some of us, it was on at Pressed Cafe.
Oh.
I don't mean to brag, but some people go to Nobu. You know, some families go to Press Cafe.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
so,
I don't know if I want to use the bathroom at a hockey game.
No.
Again, Joe has to predict his eating and what it's going to do to his stomach. So if he has diarrhea, he is in a place where he can go to the bathroom.
Said, no, don't worry about it. Hey, let's do this.
Okay.
All right. Very good. All right. So the Bruins took on the horrible Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah. Blue Jackets, they were 6-9-2 heading into last night's contest. So the Bruins a little better record-wise, but Blue Jackets playing a little better, especially in the first period. Here we are at the midway point. Columbus already up 1-0.
Olivier will bring it up toward the Boston line and goes around. Coyle goes right to the front of the net. A backhander scores. A shorthanded goal for Matthew Olivier, and Columbus makes it 2-0.
Shorthanded goal, demoralizing, debilitating. Yeah. Really, really frustrating.
Charlie Coyle just kind of let him go.
Yeah, it's but you know what? Maybe Charlie Coyle was feeling bad about that, and feeling bad about the fact that they were down 3-0, allowing a goal with 32 seconds left in the first period to make the lead even more insurmountable. So they're down 3-0. They play most of the second, but Charlie Coyle had an answer for his mistake earlier, John.
Lohrei from the near side of the blue line. Behind the net for Brazo. In front, Coyle scores! Bruins with a much-needed power play goal. Cut it back to a 3-1 game.
All right, so you play a few more minutes there in the second. You start the third period. You're down 3-1. Let's see if you can mount another comeback like you did about a week ago. Oh, wait a second. Bruins are on the power play again. That may not be a good thing.
Up top for Lohrei. Fumbles it out near the blue line. Forced out of the zone by Sillinger, who comes up ice. He's got a man coming down the middle, and they score. Justin Danforth with the Blue Jackets' second shorthanded goal of the night. It's 4-1.
They would add another at the 14-10 mark of the third to get the 5-1 win over the Bruins at TD Garden.
Great camera shot by Nesson. People leaving the game with about 8 minutes to go. People going up the steps and taking off.
Yeah,
this is a non sequitur for Hardy.
Yeah,
you're from Michigan.
Yeah,
when you hear play that clip again.
Oh, shorty.
Up top for Lohrei. Fumbles it out near the blue line. Forced out of the zone by Sillinger, who comes up ice. He's got a man coming down the middle, and they score. Justin Danforth with the Blue Jackets' second shorthanded goal of the night. It's 4-1.
It doesn't say anything to me. Danforth?
Bill Danforth?
No.
Detroit skater. Professional skater. Move on.
All right.
You don't remember Bill Danforth? Did you skate? Did you skate? Did you skate when you were growing up?
Did you even lift?
Bill Danforth was punk as F, and he was from Michigan. He was a Detroit skater.
Okay.
Made it big. The only kid out of the area. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
All right.
You go.
I was actually driving around in cars probably when you were getting big into your skate years.
Dude, I was driving around in cars, too. I was holding on to the back of them and going back to the future.
Oh, you were skitching a little bit.
I was skitching, baby.
Yeah.
Something I've never seen anyone do. Behind a car. I've seen it behind a bus.
It seems dangerous.
Well, I would think that if you fell, you get smashed by the car behind you.
You've often talked about the Bruins' ability to turn things on and not worrying too much about the regular season because it's all about the playoffs. And Jim Montgomery doesn't sound all that worried either.
I think I said it a couple of days ago. I started season 1-7-1 in Dallas one year. We went 17-4-4 after that. There's been a couple of wins where I thought maybe we were turning the page. That hasn't transpired. What you want in the first 20 games, you don't want to be out of the playoff race. We're not out of the playoff race.
All right, so we'll talk to Jim McBride coming up, but Cam Neely said how disjointed training camp was with people coming back and new faces coming in. And Lindholm obviously hasn't been worth the money. It's been a problem. But I'm interested, John, you thought they played well in the first period. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first period. I understand that Columbus's goalie was standing on his head.
They were creating a lot of opportunities. Merzlikins got lucky too. There were a couple where he would deflect. They beat him underneath his shoulder, and he would deflect it with the blocker behind him just wide. That happened twice. And Coyle, who scored the goalie, as you heard, got robbed at the right post. I mean, they had a lot of offensive chances.
Okay.
They were generating power plays. I mean, they now on the other end of the ice, there were problems. But offensively, in the first period, I thought they played very well. And they were down 3-0 because every mistake they made, they got punished. That Van Riemsdyk goal at the end of the first period, that was blind luck. He was standing out in front, and the puck found him in a crowd. I mean,
I don't know if I've seen him play worse, because that's why I'm so interested in that, because they'd go D to D at the top of their own zone, and the pass would get intercepted for a breakaway.
Yeah, Lowry was by himself at the top on the umbrella for the power play. He just mishandled the puck, and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 the other way, and the puck's in the net.
Like, this was, and this is going to sound very simplistic because it is. It's not great analysis, but it seemed, if this makes any sense, like there were times they were bad at hockey. Like they weren't professional hockey players.
Yes.
Because
as we moved further into the game, especially the third period, as we moved further on, I completely agree with you.
If you're talking about the end of the third period,
I was watching beginning of the third. It was bad. They were bad.
But like you're at the top of the umbrella in a power play, and someone passes the puck to the point, and you just miss it. That's like something I do. That's not something you see very often. Or two defenders at the top. And they're Beers was talking about this, and they're passing it back to each other, and someone just skates in between them, takes the puck, and goes for a breakaway. You don't often see that.
That's like the Mighty Ducks things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, because I never played, but that seems like a really aggressive play. Because if you overskate that as the defensive guy and looking to steal the puck, you're completely out of the play, and it's a 5-on-4. I don't recall that happening a whole lot.
No,
I don't watch amateur hockey.
It's funny, the online people, like, this is it. This is the last. This is it. You have to fire Montgomery. You can't bring him back after a performance like that. Well, Ty Anderson and a lot of other Bruins reporters said after the game last night, they got an email from the Bruins that Jim Montgomery will be available to the media after practice. There's no practice today, but after practice on Wednesday. So he's not getting fired, not at least for the next 48 hours.
Well, good. It would suck if he got fired before Pucks and Paddles, even though he won't be there. It would be a little awkward to be with the team.
Yeah, he's still the Bruins head coach this week.
I don't.
But Fred, real quick, what you said about the shorthanded goal and like coughing up the puck there at the point, it was Lowry, I think, who
Lowry at the top of the umbrella.
So they had the second unit out there because they've had some more success. And
it was far better than the first,
right?
Yes.
And when you're trying to like brainstorm some ideas, like, oh, it's our third or fourth line is playing better. Let's shuffle some things. This is when some of those reasons why these guys are on the second unit to begin with, or fourth liners, you give them more responsibility, you give them a shot. Things like that are going to happen from time to time. Unfortunately, in that case, it can result in a rush going the other way, and you give up a shorty, which, again, I wasn't being flip earlier when I said it. It's demoralizing. I don't know if that anything more takes the wind out of your sails on a hockey team than getting a shorthanded goal scored.
And there also was Zacha made a great play and a breakaway to break it up. I mean, there was. They were bad. I mean, Zacha had the 22 miles an hour. They said he was going.
Yes, I saw that.
But to break up another breakaway, I mean, there was. I don't think Swayman's great. He's obviously not. He's given up a lot of goals. He might be playing better than his goals against, but he's giving up a lot of goals.
Yeah, he's not giving. He's getting beat on pucks he shouldn't get beat on, where he hasn't been getting beat on the last couple of years. And Jim Montgomery, you can say this for him: he is doing everything possible to kind of jumpstart his team. He's mixing up lines. The club is giving him other opportunities, like Merkulov on the power play in his second or third game of the season. They brought in this guy from Providence who fights for a living,
and he
fought like 14 seconds into the game and had 7 of the Bruins' 11 penalty minutes last night.
He also drew a penalty on a high stick. But the thing is that if you fire Montgomery now and it doesn't work, there's no bullets left in the chamber. Like if you fire Montgomery in November and things stay the same or get worse, it's a lost season.
It's the only bullet they have left.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use it now. I mean, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't use it in November. And you better be damn sure who you're bringing in.
Yes.
Believe me, look around every sport. I won't give examples because they're obvious. Look around every sport. I was all hot to fire coaches, or didn't think it was a big deal, and it turned out to be a ridiculously big deal.
I think, and we've talked about this on and off the air, if they let Montgomery go, it's going to be one of those 2 assistants that takes over for the rest of the season.
And I don't know anything about those guys. In if the team organization feels like they're the best thing going and they're so unbelievable and they can handle it.
One of them was interviewed for the Kraken job before they started. I mean,
he didn't get it. That's a failure.
That's true. No argument here. He didn't get the job.
Have either of them been head coaches in the NHL?
Minor leagues, yes. In NHL, no.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that you fired Cassidy too early, and he went out and won a cup the next season. It's very easy, and also you have to interpret these as coaching problems and not personnel problems.
It's probably equally, if not more, personnel.
Oh, I think it's almost entirely personnel. I mean, how much is Montgomery responsible for the play of Swayman, Pasternak, and Marchand? Like, how much is he?
Pasternak and Marchand should be taking care of themselves. Swayman could be a result of the like they said, how he came into camp or didn't come into camp at all. He did make one analogy here I've not yet heard, but Beaton tells me this is weird.
I don't think missing training camp helps anyone. That's why you have training camps. The only guy I seen, Tim Raines with the Expos, as an Expos fan growing up, he missed the first month because I don't know, if you didn't sign by a certain date, and I think he went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs his first game back against the Mets. So I mean that's a different sport. I think it's tough to get the rhythm and the expectation.
Brock Raines, baby.
Okay.
But he's a Hall of Famer. Don't worry about him.
But you're right, Ed. Personnel-wise, I don't call it personnel, though, when there are guys standing around. And, again, the end of the third, you're not watching who cares that 5th goal. But they've got, as Brickley pointed out last night, a lot of defensemen back there. There's a lot of Bruins jerseys in the right area, but they're just kind of watching. They're really not making aggressive plays on the puck. They're not doing anything to get the puck out of their zone and prevent the other team from scoring. So is that personnel? Is that coaching? Is it some of both? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It just better work, because now you're an organization that's just firing coaches all the time, and you better have good results. All right. Because the Cassidy thing was embarrassing. And now, by the way, the guys that had a problem with Cassidy, aren't even on the team anymore. So I mean, all right. It certainly didn't help that much getting rid of Cassidy. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
got your finger on the pulse, Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
Kinda looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy. We were talking about the Bruins and their issues. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, guys, how are you?
What's up, Joe?
So, listen, I get everybody's calling for Montgomery's head and everything. I don't think that's the right move to do. I mean, it's definitely a personnel issue. We're paying a goalie who is probably causing problems within the clubhouse when he's asking for money that he duly deserves, but he's not playing like he deserves it right now. He's not.
No.
All right. The players themselves need to come together because, as I'm caging the spirit of Herb Brooks, the name on the front is more important than the name on the back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you call for Montgomery's head, it's no different than getting rid of Cassidy, getting rid of Julian, and look what they did when they left the Bruins organization, how successful they've been. If we get rid of Montgomery, we're doing the same exact thing.
Yes.
We don't learn from our mistakes. Is it a Sweeney problem? Is it a Neely problem? Who knows? But the team needs to start together and playing as a team. It's unacceptable they're playing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the old team, the turnover has been everyone. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to just go willy-nilly firing Montgomery, but because if it doesn't work, you're really screwed. And if you look at the guy making all the guys making all the money, Pasternak's not done anything. Elias Lindholm's not done anything. You're paying Coyle too much money. Zaka gets paid too much money.
Yeah.
Swayman's not doing anything. McAvoy played really bad last night.
It's very, very strange what's happening. The players that should be playing well aren't, and the players that did play well last year have kind of reverted back to their levels of where they were before the Bruins gave them all that cash.
Right.
Zaka really wasn't very good until he got here, and all of a sudden he had that spike in performance. Coyle wasn't exactly a world beater either when the Bruins got him.
Did you hear the reasons that Montgomery was giving for Elias Lindholm not playing well? Because he didn't, I guess, when he went to did he go to Calgary or did he go from Calgary to Vancouver?
He was in Calgary
and then he went
while.
to Vancouver.
And, yeah.
So, he was talking about how you have to get used to playing with new teammates. Okay. And then he was saying, and just switching towns is tough. You need to get adjusted. He's in a new town with a new vibe. And to that, I would say, oh boy, because that's not relatable because most of us have had to move towns and then work and be successful. Most people have to move, across the country or to another city.
Look, Fred, you just touched on something I have very little patience for. If whether it's the travel thing or the moving thing, and with the Bruins, they've had guys that I didn't have a lot of friends here. That was the Dougie Hamilton thing. He didn't have friends. Okay, number one, your job as a coach or a manager is to manage the employees and somehow figure out a way to help them like it here. There are some things that you have to do personally, but also you're touching on all the things that normal people have to do all the time, and you still have to perform at work. I have a very low tolerance for that stuff.
And then Lindholm was saying, and they just had a kid, but it's good because his parents are here to help. And then I'm thinking, how hard is it to move to a new town if you got a wife and kids and your parents? That just sounds like living at home. That doesn't sound very difficult to me.
That's more than you and I had when we had our kids. We didn't have parents living nearby to help us out.
I mean, I moved to Atlanta by myself, and then I had to go patch together a career.
Look, Lindholm has been, I think this is his 11th season. The previous 10, he's been over 60 points 3 times. It's not like he is a stud number one. He had one really good season in Calgary, and that was 3 years ago. But last season, I think it was 44 points in a full NHL season.
Yeah, he was bad. He was good in Calgary and then went to Vancouver and he disappeared. Vancouver had given up a ton for him.
Well, I mean, in Calgary, he wasn't necessarily very good either that year.
No, but he fell
saying
apart. No, that's not what I said. I said he fell apart in Vancouver, and the reason he gave for falling apart in Vancouver was the change of scenery.
That's fine. I guess we're coming back to the point that the Bruins gave him an exorbitant amount of money that he isn't necessarily worth. That was my whole point.
Yeah. All right, real quick. Did you see that this guy was helping his wife prepare to sell her childhood? This is in front page of the Globe. Childhood home in Danvers. And they were having a yard sale, and this old man comes by. And they started chatting about baseball cards, and this old man goes, oh, I have these Babe Ruth cards. Cy Young, Christy Matheson, Jim Thorpe, Joe Jackson. And the guy goes, oh, card worth over $500,000, one of them. And now
that he had out there as part of the yard sale?
No,
or someone else just.
No, because that's what I first saw. And I was like, if this guy's bragging about going to an old man's house and like buying a Babe Ruth card for $1 and then selling it for $1 million.
Yeah, go
like
kill
this
him.
guy's like a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not what happened. This guy's actually a good guy. The old man came by and he's like, I got these cards. And then the guy facilitated this auction. I'm sure he's going to get a piece of it, and he deserves to. But he facilitated this auction.
That's pretty cool.
And so now they got like $1 million worth of cards, but he's all old. So what's he gonna do with the money? I know.
Pass it on to his.
Do you
family
think
members?
if you find those cards and you realize because they're from the 1918s, and you realize that you've had these cards your entire life? He's had them obviously his entire life. You realize you had them, and then you're at the end of your life. And you realize that they're worth $1 million because he was discovering them. Like he was like, oh, these are worth something. So he started digging through his house, and that's when he found the two. He has two Babe Ruths. One's in bad condition though. So he like was going through stuff. Like he didn't have them displayed or anything. And you realized that for your entire life you've been sitting on $1 million, over $1 million worth of cards that you don't like. Wouldn't that frustrate you?
Yeah, I'd be a little upset.
I think that would frustrate me more than
upset.
it would make me happy. I guess that you could give I don't know if the guy has kids or something, you could give the money down to.
Yeah.
But I would be a little frustrated that I had just
Things would have been so much easier. I could have lived in this house that didn't constantly need repair and had the roof fall in.
Or I could live in a house
20
where
years ago.
I could have been more organized and known that my 1918 baseball cards, I could have at least like had a passing knowledge that baseball cards were worth a lot of money.
Yeah, see, now that's the weird part. It's like this isn't new. You know, those cards did not become valuable yesterday. That's been talked about forever. How these cards are valuable.
Just during COVID, I mean, cards, Mickey Mantle card. They're going $5 million. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I just know, but the bottom has already fallen out of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I have more garbage that I bought during COVID. I might have 20 Ohtani rookie cards graded because I would get these boxes of like stuff. Who knows? And I have no idea how to sell them or any idea what to do with anything.
All up in my face with that. I'll never forget back when we were all on Zoom. All Fred did the entire show was pick up cards and put them right in front of the camera so all of us could see.
Yeah.
Look at that, Mike Trout rookie. Check it out, babe. Check out my Maurice Cheeks jersey. It's framed. See,
No,
it's framed.
that was never framed. That was just hung up. With
It's on the wall behind me. See?
He was just wearing it.
That's been sold.
Oh, sorry.
That was sold for a solid like $40. All right, we'll be back right after this. Tragedy avoided at a very famous place.
WZFM and HD Boston.
Patriots!
From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass.
Yes.
98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins were down 3-0 after one period and never recovered in a 5-1 home loss to Columbus last night. Elvis Merzlikins was the story for the Winners, making 28 saves and standing on his head in the first period as the Blue Jackets built their big lead. Jim Montgomery's team has now lost 3 in a row and 5 of 7 to dip back below 500 again.
Just by being honest, that's what you have to do. You got to be honest in life. Everyone goes through struggles, whether you're in life or you're a team. That's what life's about. How do you pick yourself up? It's not how hard you fall. It's how quickly you pick yourself up.
The Bruins power play got a goal from Charlie Coyle, but they also allowed 2 goals in the loss. They play the Utah Hockey Club at the Garden on Thursday night. The Celtics will face undefeated Cleveland at the Garden this evening as NBA Cup pool play continues. Peyton Pritchard is questionable with a sprained thumb. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Also, the team has announced Kristaps Porzingis has reached the next phase of his recovery. He will practice with the club's G League team and ramp up his activities. The Patriots will practice tomorrow. They visit Miami on Sunday. The Athletic reported yesterday the team's coaching staff is all believed to be safe for now. Former Patriots wideout Tyquan Thornton is signed with the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad, and the Houston Texans blew out the Cowboys in Dallas last night 34-10. Dallas has lost 5 in a row. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Eastern Massachusetts' leader in drain cleaning and pipelining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clogged drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston Hill for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Todger and Hardy
That's what I want on my tombstone.
on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. Hardy pops on there. He'll talk to you.
Yeah, I don't chat very often, but I'm on there. I'm looking.
I was at the dentist with my daughter yesterday. We were there for a long time. She knows, sorry, I was answering emails like a fiend.
Yeah, and you answered a few over the weekend, too. You and I both. You inspired me to do the same. I don't know about you. I go through phases where I return every email for like 3 days straight, and then I'll go 3 weeks without even opening a lot of them.
I can't answer emails in the car, and I am sleeping here or in the car. That's a fairly fair statement of facts. So and then when I get home at night and I'm finally alone, I go to bed. And then when I get home from work, I go to bed. And then I get up and I start driving.
Well, there was a really good email about Dorchester and how they're going to demolish that building we used to work in.
I know.
That was
the guy said stop.
That was good.
The guy was very nice, but he was like, hey, dude, I live in Dorchester and it's not that bad. You keep making it sound bad. And I said, oh, no. I wasn't afraid of really, I swear to God, I wasn't. The people there and the conditions there didn't bother me. It was that it was in the absolute geographically worst place for me to get to. That, and I didn't like the Mass Ave situation.
The nails in the parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, there were things, but I certainly wasn't afraid. I told you guys I would have to get out of the car all the time on, what's the road?
Mass and Cass, right around there.
No.
Columbia Road?
Columbia Road, thank you, Hardy. I would get off on Columbia Road, and I would have to get out of the car, and I would have to tell people, dude, you got to move, because they put their hazards on just in the middle of the road, and there was really no getting around them. So I'd have to be like, oh, I was out of my car all the time. I started going in stores around there. I was having the time of my life. I was a man of Dorchester.
And the guy that was just parked there, blocking the traffic, instead of moving his car, he bent down and tied his shoe, just to further infuriate you.
You know what? Teaching moment. Hardy's
that was really good. How you put that full circle.
Are you dense?
I like that.
No, it's not. Here's if you don't know what's going on. A woman, I parked. I had to drop off my son and then turn right around and go to the dentist. I couldn't get into my driveway because my staff was there. So I parked in front of the neighbor's house, got out of the car. Me and my kids are walking into the house with the dog. I'm like 5 steps from my car, and my son goes, "Hey, this lady can't get by." I go, "Oh." I turn around, I put my hand up, and I start walking towards my car. Mm-hmm. She started shaking her head and subtly flipping me off. So I took a knee and started tying my shoe because I thought once that had been recognized as I was doing the right thing and acknowledging my mistake, then the problem should have been over. And then Hardy went, blah, blah, you're awful, you stink, any excuse to get on you. And then so he just, when the people, and so this is it, the people had their hazards on in Dorchester. I get out of the car. I'm not going to yell at them. I mean, I don't know what's going on in that car. I go up, I go, "Hey, man, can you move? Like, I literally can't get by you." Every time they went, yeah, and moved the car. Mm-hmm. There was never a confrontation. There was never a flipping off. No one got mad at each other. I mean, I certainly was frustrated in the car and would sit there and go, like, what's going on? And then I would do that rather than honking. Why? Why, Fred, would you do that rather than honking?
You don't want to wake up people who are sleeping.
Well, this always happened after work, but but people were sleeping on the street. But the thing is that I think honking is more of an act of aggression than getting out of the car and politely asking and explaining what's going on.
Part of that is also the Detroiter in both of us, Fred, where it took me years before I would use my horn in Boston.
That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
We never used our horns.
Really?
No.
Oh, that's constant here.
I didn't know what a car horn sounded like till I was 24 years old.
There's two reasons for it. A, people in the Midwest are obviously much nicer. And two, that if you honked at the wrong person, that was not going to go well for you.
Okay.
And that was not like you know what? You could probably do it your whole life and nothing would happen. But on the off chance, I mean, I told you that I got pulled over by 3 cars and hit in the head with the barrel of a gun. And I grew up in Farmington Hills, which is fine. It's fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It's fine. But you get an influx of bad people into it, which is what happened. And then it becomes not so great.
Yes.
You start drowning people in Cass Lake.
Okay.
Drowning my friend's sister in Cass Lake.
No, okay. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Yes, indeed. But all right. So anyway, so bad things happen, to a lot of people.
Yes, bad things happened last night in Dallas for Monday Night Football. Here's the report.
After the retractable roof was opened around 4:30 and a piece of metal fell from the roof onto the field, no one was injured and they cleared that piece of metal away, but there was another piece about the same size that also fell, got lodged onto a catwalk above the field. NFL security determined it wouldn't be safe to play with that piece of metal up there. They either had to bring it down or secure it somehow. They went with Plan B. Stadium workers bolted that piece of metal to the catwalk.
Yeah, crack NFL security also determined it would be unsafe to play with the piece of the metal on the field, so they had to remove that. Oh, there's more loose metal up there. I'm glad NFL security is on top of these things.
Why is there loose metal at the top of Jerry World? That's what I want to know.
I think that he might have had the ability to skirt by some building requirements.
Yeah.
I don't think they were probably holding him to the letter of the law, if I could be so bold. I think Jerry Jones, when he built the $5 billion, 100,000-seat stadium, might have been able to skip over some regulations that most people.
Hell, I know the building inspector, J.D. Shellnut. I'll have him over here. We'll have ourselves a couple of Lone Stars, and you don't need to worry about that.
I think it's more like the regulator opens up the door to the
Jerry Jones.
Just doing the Jerry Jones music.
What is this song?
It's from the
Jerry's theme.
It's Jerry's theme. It's from that movie Giant about the big oil rigs in the 1950s.
Oh, all right.
Of course.
Very good.
How did you not know that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was because I think the audience too is like, "What's this?" I mean, it makes sense.
Of course.
All right. So anyway,
boy.
I think it's more like Jerry Jones is like the doorbell rings at the regulator's house or whatever they're called. And then there's like 4 like hot chicks sitting there, and he's like, "What are you guys doing there?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And they go and they have their way with him, and then they leave, and then a guy shows up and goes, "Hey, you want your wife to know about this? and then the guy goes,
Yeah.
And then they have him. Is more what I think was going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's all plausible.
Or a package just shows up with a lot of money in it, and they go, now you're on the take. But the thing is that, Dennis Leary has a bit about this on No Cure for Cancer, about dying, and that you could just be walking down the road, and this does happen, that, you're whistling and having the time of your life, and you're walking down a city street, and then all of a sudden a window air conditioner comes tumbling out of a window randomly and smashes you on the head. So then it got us thinking about, have you been in a situation where you were in something that, not like a car accident or an assault or a disease or something like that, just something like a piano, like that old thing of like the movers moving a piano like up into a building and it just falling on you. Like, because you could be, you're just going to a Cowboys game.
See, to me, that one doesn't worry me, because that one, you see something going on, and anyone's natural instinct would be to either, I'm sure that's safe, I'll just walk on by. Me, I would say, I'm not going to walk underneath that thing. Let's just exercise some caution.
You would stay a couple of steps back, put your hand in your pockets, and observe.
Right.
You'd linger.
Yeah, you'd linger around.
Of course I would. But the thing that, if I allow myself to go to that dark place, is to walk around and start thinking about things that could just randomly fall off at any time. Or say, driving through the Ted Williams Tunnel, which of course happened in 2006. Just the 50,000 pounds of concrete and debris coming down on your car.
Yeah, okay, so I keep forgetting about that. The tunnels are, I'm not positive they should exist anyway.
Don't tell Boston that.
I don't understand what's so bad about a bridge over water. A tunnel like under the land doesn't bother me as much. But why can't you just build a bridge? Why do we have to be under the water? Like, I don't get that. Like, and so you almost, I feel that tunnels are testing God's patience. And I do mean this. It's like Phoenix, Arizona is testing God's patience. That whenever there's a water shortage or something there, you're like, no kidding, you stupid idiots. You had to have grass, didn't you? You had to, because again, you're in Phoenix and then you drive to Scottsdale and it's dry, barren desert, and all of a sudden you see grass and trees and you go, oh, Jesus Christ, here's Scottsdale. And there's golf courses with manicured grass and stuff.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, and they're there for no reason. And then they're like, "What's going on?
Golf.
What's going on?" Yeah, well, because they have to do that. You couldn't just leave that part of the country open. You lived in Nevada and you lived in New Mexico. Why aren't those the two places that they decided just to dump a bunch of water in?
Well, they do in Las Vegas, and if you're flying out there, take a look down on Lake Mead as you're going out there, and the water level is unbelievably low. New Mexico is different. That's high desert, and on the other side of Albuquerque, which is bordered on the east by the Sandia Peak, the other side is like lush forest.
Very good.
It's very close by. But you're right. Places like when it's the actual desert, whether it's Las Vegas or whether it's Phoenix or Tucson.
But at least Vegas,
it's not supposed to be habitable.
Vegas is there for a reason. They said we want to go to deliberately in the middle of nowhere to just have a lawless place. And this is where we can get away.
for GIs on their way to California to stop over, and that place was called Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
And this was a great man, and someone put a bullet in his eye. I didn't ask. Who gave the order?
Anyone?
No.
What?
Anyone know that?
Everybody knows that except for you 5 simps.
You know Ryan? Nicholas?
No, he's not even. He doesn't listen to this show.
He doesn't answer the phones either.
Nicholas, not.
12? What is
12? You have any idea?
Oh, I'm stumped.
Is it like Bugsy or something?
Hyman Roth in The Godfather explaining to Michael what happened to his friend in The Godfather Part 2. Is it Part 1 or Part 2?
It's got to be Part 2.
It's Part 2 because that's the one where Fredo gets in with the Vegas guys and betrays the family.
No. When Fredo first goes to Vegas, that's in the first Godfather.
Yeah.
I I should watch it more because I got 20 hours to kill.
Maybe it is part 2.
Do we have another Marconi coming anytime soon?
Yeah. Let's package this little break up and send it to the people.
But anyway, I feel like when man tries to go against nature for no reason, you're really pushing your luck. And I do feel like that when you go in a tunnel, not a bridge. A bridge is of necessity. That's just man needing to reach places. But the idea, why does it have to be a tunnel? Why do you have to be under the water? You're begging for something bad to happen. And that's why I'm jealous and a little skeptical of people that have no problem being in an underwater tunnel. They don't think twice about it. Like the people that go out to that place in Maryland, the Outer Banks, where they go to Outer Banks and there's a series of tunnels and bridges that's like 25 miles long. And they're like, oh, it's not bad. Oh, no. It's very bad. It's very bad. Every instinct in you should be that this is very bad. Like what if your car breaks down? What are you going to do? You're going to be stuck there. Go have your car break down on the 7 Mile Bridge in the Keys.
I was just
and see how much fun you're having.
I was just going to ask about that. You're so big on bridges. How is that 7 mile thing, the highway out to the Keys from Miami? That's not fun?
No, the 7 Mile Bridge is at least you're not. I mean, I guess it could crumble to the ground, but you're not really pushing your luck
for the same reason that I get it, Fred. I'm with you. I don't like bridges either because I don't like heights. Hell, I don't like the Bourne Bridge. That's not my favorite thing. No. But if something really goes wrong on a bridge, you're coming back to the ground. If something goes bad in a tunnel built under the ocean, you're not floating up to the surface and going to be okay.
Yeah, and they're like there's
it's the submarine versus an airplane.
You ever
thing.
see the movie Daylight?
I'll go on an airplane. I ain't going in no submarine.
Stallone had no trouble. Floated right up to the top of the East
And they're
River.
like, there's elevators in the tunnel, and you're like, oh, are there? Because I'm sure they're working. I'm sure they're being used all the time. Like if you have an elevator that hasn't been used in 3 years,
behind one of those doors, all you got to do is find one.
Yeah, and now you're going to be stuck in an elevator in a tunnel that's getting the water being gushed into it. You're going to drown to death in the elevator.
No, I'll take the tunnel.
Like, don't worry about it. You can just get out. You can just get on one of these elevators. Oh, that sounds good. An underwater elevator. That's exactly what I want to be in.
Put you in a little capsule, a little pod. You float right to the surface.
Yeah, and so I mean. Just someone's going to be sitting at that stadium one day in Dallas, and a piece of shrapnel is just going to come and it's going to chop their head off. And you know what's going to happen to Jerry Jones?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Do you think Jerry Jones could kill a guy and get away with it?
Yes, I do.
I think he has killed.
That's true. It might be past tense.
Right. And he will kill again.
No, it's just.
Yeah, I think Jerry is.
I don't think you live that long and amass that kind of wealth without having a few problems removed along the way.
Yeah, there are a few skeletons in that closet. Yeah. Sure.
Scott from Rentham says worst segment ever.
Oh, that's too bad. He didn't like it.
Oh.
And we cater this show right to him, too. It's amazing.
I mean, he didn't get the thing.
He usually calls in with a music request by now.
John, well, that's over, I think, now. John, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So I was, me and a couple of friends, when I was younger, were walking around New York. We just went to New York to have fun, and we were walking, and we heard what sounded like a gunshot. It was actually someone who was not smart and dropped a penny off of the Empire State Building. And come to find out 2 weeks later that I was there, someone actually passed away from a penny falling off the Empire State Building. It was very sad.
Can that happen?
That sounds like an urban myth to me.
Gravity will pull the penny down so bad that it'll go pretty much right through your body.
I don't know.
You can look that up, too.
Oh, let's look it up, John.
If it's worse, this is according to Ripley's Believe It or Not. If you if a tourist decides to throw a penny from the observation deck of the Empire State Building, it's unlikely it will do much damage to whatever it strikes below because of its size and shape. The air cushions the coin, preventing it from becoming a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
See that, John? You thought you had a cool story, but it turned out to be nothing.
Yeah, that's one of them stories that's been told over and over and over again.
Because that's the thing. If you drop a penny in like a brick, they go at the same time or something like that. Isn't that the deal?
Yeah, they've actually done experiments with simulating the speed from which it would fall and all that stuff, and it barely even hurts. It's 2.5 grams. It's not enough weight, and because of the way it's shaped, it's not going to have enough velocity.
Kids cancel the trip to the Empire State Building with my change bucket. B Real says the entire scoreboard crashed the ice in Buffalo years ago. It was either right before or right after the morning skate. That's not surprising. All right, Craig, why do we need tunnels?
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't know this either till I moved down to the Hampton Roads area, down in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. It has to do with the Navy. The Atlantic Fleet is based in Norfolk, and the thinking was if we built bridges and an enemy of the United States was to bomb the bridges, that would plug up the ships in the harbor. They wouldn't be able to get out, because the bridges would be in the bottom of the bay. So they decided to go with tunnels. That way, if there was a war, the enemy couldn't get to the tunnels, and the ships of the Atlantic Fleet could get in and out of the Norfolk Naval Base. And that's why we have tunnels down there.
Very interesting. But, Craig, can I tell you this? First of all, war hath racked its wrath on us. Again, our inability as humans to get along has created another problem. But also, if I am in a tunnel accident, maybe a little stolen valor, again, because they were built because of the Navy. So if I'm actually sacrificing myself for my country, if I get hurt in a tunnel.
In Norfolk, yeah.
I mean,
if you happen to be in Norfolk at the time.
You know who went AWOL from Norfolk? John Joseph of the Cro-Mags. That's where he met the bad brains.
Oh, boy. Now it's the worst segment ever.
Is it time to sharpen that pencil?
Yeah.
Sharpen that a little. Yeah.
Okay.
That was to make up for your Scarface, your Godfather quote.
Well,
all right.
You understand why I got confused, because Fredo goes to Vegas in part 1, but Hyman Roth isn't introduced as a main character until part 2.
Listen, I was confused from the beginning. You're on safe ground. Jim McBride's never confused. He has Cam Neely. He was there when Cam Neely was talking about what's going on with the Bruins.
He's also canceled his segment. He doesn't want to come on the show.
That segment got full phone line. It's amazing what people call in for. You could talk about the Patriots for 3 hours and never would call in, and then you talk about tunnels for 5 seconds and people call in. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. the Bruins were terrible yesterday. Jim McBride covers the Bruins for the Boston Globe. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Jim McBride, hello.
Hello. At least no large chunks of metal fell from the garden roof last night. So better than Dallas, where they always think the sky's falling.
Yeah, well, listen, it's I have a feeling that the regulations here are a little bit tougher than Jerry got in Dallas. You build something that's $2 billion, I think you got a few breaks. I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff in Detroit falls, that Little Caesars Arena, which has got a pretty sweetheart deal there. All right, so, at least nothing fell yesterday in the Garden, but the team looks very bad. You heard Cam Neely talking. You wrote about Cam Neely. What were his ideas on what was happening, and how do you feel he was? How on base was he, or on point was he?
Yeah, I think his main point was he thought training camp was awful. He thought it was disjointed. Without mentioning any specific names, he talks about guys that weren't able to be there for injury, and Elias Lindholm missed most of camp because of being hurt, but also Jeremy Swayman missed entire camp because of his contract dispute, and they didn't have their top goalie. They weren't able to practice their number one power play at all during or the one that they envisioned all training camp long, and I think that's showing its ugly head right now, is that they're still a little behind because they're still trying to shake things out, and these last 3 games have been very, very ugly.
I don't know how much wiggle room I want to give him on that, though, Jim. I mean, some of the things that we're seeing out there, and we've seen him consistently now. We see guys standing around kind of watching the puck. They're not being aggressive, even defensively in their own end. And I don't know how I can make a connection to a disjointed training camp and just seeing a lack of effort throughout a lot of these losses.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that Montgomery has faced head on. I mean, he's basically said it, like the battle is not there. And I think, in last night's game, the thing that stuck out to me more than anything was 9 total hits. For a Boston Bruins team to have 9 total hits, it's just it's unthinkable.
That's really hard to do, to have that few hits in a hockey game.
Contact sport and all, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing.
I mean, Adam Fantilli from the Blue Jackets had 5 hits all by himself. So, I mean, that tells you where their level of compete is right now, and that's something that, everybody has talked about recently, including Brad Marchand last night, that's where it starts. And they keep saying it over and over again, but that lack of compete level hasn't really increased at all. And I think that's disturbing, and that's what they're trying to put their finger on, because there's too much talent on this team for every single guy to be playing, below par.
Jim Montgomery's pretty much done all he can with the lines and inserting minor leaguers and Merkaloff on the second power play. Put a percentage on this. How much of this problem is Don Sweeney's fault?
Well, I mean, he's the guy that signs the checks and acquires these guys, and I think he acquired the pieces that everyone thought they needed. Right? They needed a 200-foot center. They got Elias Lindholm. They needed to shore up the back end. They got Nikita Zadorov, and they needed a number one goalie. And he signed Jeremy, even though it took a long time. So I'm not sure how much you can blame him for these moves, because they seemed like the right moves. I don't think you'd find anyone on July 1st that said, boy, those moves were terrible. I can't believe he signed those guys. So I don't think a lot of it falls on Don's doorstep, but he is responsible for shaking up the roster right now to try and get more out of what he has.
What about the theory that, Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha weren't necessarily performing very well before they got here, and now things are regressing towards the mean? You know what kind of season Lindholm had last season, and still Sweeney gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I think, he didn't have a great year last year. He split it between 2 teams, but I think they saw the old Elias during the playoff run, and that probably swayed them that, maybe he was back in a better environment, and he was, even though he was used as a wing instead of a center with Vancouver, he still played well and had a good playoff series, and Zadorov had a great playoff series. So, I still think those were the right moves to make. Now, to assume that Charlie and Pavel Zacha could make another jump, I think that was logical too, because they both made huge jumps last year, and filled the 1 and 2 center roles that, they hadn't in the past. Pavel was normally a winger. Charlie was considered one of the best third-line centers in the league, and then he hopped up and played really well last year. So, all the things that they were hoping to come true, none of them have. And when that happens, you have a team that's under 500.
I'm sorry, Fred, but by telling you guys specifically that Jim Montgomery is going to be available after practice here in a couple of days, is that the club's way of telling you that don't even bother asking about it? He's here. He's going to be around at least till then.
Yeah, I mean they certainly can change their mind, and we asked Brad about it last night if Jim's job status was affecting this team, and he basically said they don't pay attention to the outside noise. They're more concerned with what's happening inside the locker room. But yeah, no league changes coaches faster than the NHL. So when a team gets into a rut, whether it's here or anywhere, people start asking, hey, are they going to can the coach? And I'd be lying if I said people haven't been talking about that a lot lately. But I still don't think Jim has lost this locker room. I just think he needs to find, whatever it is that's going to help spark them. And he's leaning heavily on his leaders to help get that done.
Yeah, it's interesting. People were calling for Montgomery's job like so early in the season that it just seems to have built to this chorus that maybe wasn't fair. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Jim McBride, thank you so much for the time. We always appreciate it. And thanks again. We do appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jim.
Anytime, guys.
All right, appreciate it. By the way, we were just talking about stuff falling. This is from yesterday. 3 injured, 1 critically after box truck crashes into scaffolding in a busy New York City neighborhood. There's video of it because, of course, there is, because everything's taped. The box truck hits this scaffolding. It falls on 3 people. The bystanders couldn't be less bothered. They could not be less bothered.
New York.
Really?
They just are like they're casual. Like the 2 people that like go over there are casually stroll over there and just gawk at it. And it's just wood on top of dudes. I honestly think I'd run to where they were. I honestly do.
Get your phone out, maybe call somebody.
Yeah. I think I honestly would. I can honestly say I think, as terrible a person as I am, that I wouldn't meander on over after I saw people getting crushed, 1 critically.
Hey, Phil, check this
by
out.
scaffolding.
That looks bad.
No, there's no communication by any of the bystanders. They all kind of just, some of them walk away.
Talking?
No, some of them walk away. You can watch it. It's on NY Post, which has got everything AI. But yeah, they couldn't be less bothered. So not only can you get crushed by crap just walking, by standing there minding your own business, like this guy gets out of his van and he just stands in front of the van. And he's just standing there. And these people are casually strolling up to it. It's unbelievable. All right. We got to break.
Stepping over bodies. To
We got to break, but just real quick.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm lying. All right. Let me just really tell me if I'm lying. Here we go. All right. So here goes the truck. Here goes it. Those guys get crushed. Here comes the guy out of the van, and he stops right there. And then you'll notice across the street, oh, yeah, big hurry.
Do.
It's amazing. God. Some people are not good people. All right, we'll be right back. There is a game that has been devised by Hardy and Adam, and I look forward to playing it. We will have that for and Hardy brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Andrew Callahan is in with us for an hour, coming up at 8. But first, what have you concocted, Hardy and Adam, for me? As John will be the host, what's going on?
Well, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers in town tonight to play the Celtics. It's a big tilt, as I like to say, between your Boston Celtics and an unbeaten Cavaliers team, which we all know about their record and probably know a few players on the roster. But, you know, it's not chock full of superstars. And we thought, what type of fun could we have with this Cavaliers game tonight in a way that would also be fun for you, Fred?
I like fun.
Something that would interest you on both levels, both the basketball contest and something else that you are particularly good at and fond of. And that's how we came up with this game.
Undefeated Cavalier or 90s sitcom second tier. Undefeated Cavalier or 90s sitcom second tier.
The game is it?
It's attention is great.
Is it a member of the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers, or is it 90s sitcom second-tier character?
I know which one I'm going to know more of.
You never know.
All right, so is this the name? Okay, so it's a name of a player on the current Cavaliers roster.
Yes.
Or it's a... Describe second tier. Is it the character name or the actor name?
The actor's name.
It's the actor's name.
Actor's name.
A little tougher than you thought, huh?
Yeah, because oftentimes I only know them as Skippy.
Right.
Or Boner. Like, I don't really know their real names. I don't know Skippy or Boner's real names.
We did open up, though. I mean, these are all actors that did appear in 90s sitcoms, but also might have appeared in projects outside of that.
Fair enough. I mean, this is more than fair. If I don't do well, it's on me. But, okay, so can I be clear? The sitcoms to you guys is a half an hour show that's a comedy.
Yes.
Okay, because we've done games involving sitcoms before where, like, Hill Street Blues would be on it. I'd be like,
No.
what the hell's going on?
Sure.
All right, very
Hardy,
good.
are you taking part in this or not?
Yeah, I only know of... There was one name that I saw on the 90s sitcom second tier list, which I balked at. It was the first one that my eyes went to, and Adam 12 assures me that it should be on the list.
Okay.
So I think it's a trick one, but 12 says no, he can justify it.
All right.
So,
very good. All right.
Let's see how 12 does with this because it's not public television, so we'll see how this goes. All right. Everything's going to be some British romp from the 70s. All right, go ahead.
First name on the list for you guys, Darryl Bell.
wow, that really sounds like a Cavalier, doesn't it?
Darryl Bell.
Well, Daryl Dawkins was a basketball player.
Yep.
But there was Daryl, my brother Daryl, and my other brother Daryl on the New Art Show.
Le'Veon Bell was a football player. I'm going to go 90s sitcom second tier.
Fred?
Derek Bell. What's his name?
Darryl Bell.
I'm going to say that's a Cleveland Cavalier.
Hardy. Correct.
All right, who's Derek Bell or Damian Bell or whatever?
Darryl Bell was Dwayne Wayne's good friend on A Different
Jesus
World.
Christ.
Oh, okay.
He
so
also
it was actually,
played.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was actually sitcom.
Right. Also played Big Brother X-Ray Vision in Spike Lee's School Days.
Yes, but he was best known as Ron Johnson Jr.
What are the dates of the First World War?
1914, 1918. What ended the war? The peace treaty of Versailles.
Queen of France during the French Revolution.
Marie Curie.
Okay, is there a worse show than A Different World?
That was not a good show.
No, and it was like they were, and I know what they were trying to do. They
It
were
was
like,
a Sinbad vehicle. Come on.
You know what they were trying to do? Well, not really. I mean, Sinbad was on it, but
Yeah.
they were going. We want to make a positive show about black college students, but instead they made them the biggest dorks of all time. Like they no chicanery, all very PG. But I did pleasure myself to that show, of course, to the fussy one.
Do you remember the character's name?
No.
Jasmine Guy is the actress that.
Yeah, Jasmine Guy. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Sultry tone to Adam 12. Adam 12 has become very sultry. All right, go ahead.
All right, the next one is Dean Wade.
That sounds more like a porno situation. Dean Wad.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to trip us up here with D. Wade, Dwayne Wade, Dean Wade. I'm still going to say Cavalier.
Fred?
I'm going to say Cavalier, too.
You guys are both correct.
There we go.
All right, very good.
6'9" forward in his 6th season from Kansas State, bench player for your Cleveland Cavaliers.
Good.
Ty Jerome.
I like how you guys went all black names.
But again, I think
Dean Wade is a white man.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know why you would say Ty Jerome is a black name, Fred. I don't know where you're getting that.
Ty Jerome.
But I also think it's an effort to trip me up. I'm going to say 90s sitcom second-tier character actor.
It better not be going every other. See, Ty Jerome. Boy, oh boy. I'm not going to know any of these. Cavalier.
Fred Toucher is correct.
All right, very good.
Well, that's isolated vocal from the intro.
That just sounds a little, sounds like the line.
6'5" guard, 6th season from Virginia. Fred, you know him as the starting point guard of the 2019 national champion Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah, that was the team that, a lot of household names on that team.
Ty Jerome. Stoney Jackson.
That's got to be 90s sitcom second tier. There's no basketball player.
Okay, he wasn't
2024 named Stoney.
He wasn't on Martin because there was no one named Stoney Jackson on Martin. There was just Cockroach and Martin.
But again, it's not character names; it's the actor's name.
Yeah, I know. I mean, who the hell knows these actors' names?
Mm-hmm. Well, you watched every show, I assume.
Yeah, but I don't
watch the credits.
Yeah, right.
I watched every episode of NYPD Blue, therefore I can tell you the actors' names as well. Dennis Franz as Sitwitz, Gordon Clapp as Detective Greg Medivore.
I know you watch Family Ties. There's no way you didn't watch Family Ties.
Sure.
Skippy's real name.
Yeah.
It was also Skippy.
How about the dad? How about the dad on the show's real name? I know it.
Oh, I actually might know that one.
I do too.
Michael?
Last name?
Can't do it.
Michael
Gross.
Michael Gross.
And of course, you know the mom's name.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Of course, who played in every dramedy, or not dramedy, I'm sorry, in every Lifetime movie?
Hua.
No. Often a woman who was assaulted. That she became very typecast in those roles. Okay. She's a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
She checked some Hardy boxes off, right?
Yeah.
Meredith Baxter Burney?
No. She's far too glamorous.
Yeah.
All right.
Stoney Jackson, Fred.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He was on a sitcom, I guess.
That is correct.
All right. This is just, you might as well
Travis
just go.
Fillmore on 227.
Jesus. Is that the dad with the beard, with the mustache? All right, you don't have to play a clip, dude.
What?
Is that the guy with the mustache?
Yes.
It's the dad with the mustache.
He was also the guy who danced in the Michael Jackson "Beat It" video. He was in a ton of stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah,
the Jefferson.
The guy that danced in the
Stoney
Beat It
Jackson.
video.
Hold on a second. I asked 12 to have some clips ready. So A, how dare you? And B, what dancer was he in the video, 12? Do you know? Was he the guy that shook his face around?
Was that him?
No.
That guy was good.
No, he was the African American. You know how I ping pong from black to African American. I figure you got to go 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
He's the African American guy that knife fights the white guy.
Correct.
Okay.
There you
Wow.
Are you
Good
sure they're
pull.
the same person? Because he was the dad on 227 and he was This game is very flawed.
227 is a comedy
With Marla Gibbs and her family.
Okay,
Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
all right, just double checking.
All right, very good.
Robbie Wrist. Robbie Wrist.
That's a Cavalier.
Oh no, okay, that is.
Well, look, the wheels are turning over there.
Now we're cooking. That is a second tier sitcom character. A child actor. Robbie Wrist. Okay, baby. Now we're cooking.
I'm going Cavalier.
No. I'm right. It's a child
Fred
actor.
Toucher is correct.
Yeah, I'm correct.
I'm
All right.
wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I want to hear the clip. Who is? Is Robbie Wrist dead? All right, let's hear Robbie Wrist. Do you have a clip?
Cousin Oliver.
No.
I knew it was
Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
But that's not 90s.
Voiceover, according to 12, voiceover and character actor in the 90s. However.
Yes, he continued to act well into that. But I mean, what am I going to do? An obscure role? We got to do the role he's best known for.
He continued to act like he was innocent in front of the judge.
That's right.
If he was like every other child actor. That one I like because I got it right.
All right, going to get you on this one.
See, Cousin Oliver's a good one because there's a chance.
Yeah.
The joke is that we don't know any of the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
You give me the dad on 227. You could ask me the dad's. Who knows anyone on 227 except Jack? And I don't even know Jack Hayes' character name on the show. Get out of here with these. Go ahead.
Sam Merrill.
That's a basketball
I'm going
player.
Cavalier again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill is a
I think I knew
Cavalier.
that.
6'4" guard out of Utah State.
Oh, yeah, big fan.
Best known for playing college basketball with the Celtics. To me, it's Cater for 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I know him as.
Did you notice that he wanted this Celtics job so bad? He's got all this useless information. now
John's got
stored up.
one more for you.
I got. Here we
Go ahead.
Okay. Steve Heitner.
It's
Not
the
just sit
little
down.
person from the Seinfeld episode. Thank you, Hardy.
Mickey.
Yeah, because he's heightened. Steve Heitner
Yes.
is going to be a character actor from the 80s. And was he the dad on just the 10 of us?
I don't know, but he did some movies in the 80s, and then he transitioned to sitcom in the 90s. I'm right there with you. We're lockstep on this last one.
Oh, yeah. Steve Heitner. Okay, so you're sure he did movies in the 80s?
No, but this is how I have. I'm doing a character sketch of this guy in my head. That's who he is.
Yeah. Okay. So is he a character actor or a comedian turned sitcom star?
Either way, we're going 90s sitcom.
That is
yeah,
correct.
It's 90s sitcom.
It is a 90s sitcom.
But part of the part of the fun though is trying to discover who Steve Heitner is. Play the clip and let's see if we can figure it out.
Well, you're going to get it from the clip.
Why they say the name of the show?
They say the name of the character.
I still may not
go
get
ahead.
it. I still may not get it.
Oh, no, it's Kenny Banya.
Who's he?
He's this awful comedian.
Hey, Jerry! Hey,
You had the show right, dude.
Well, no. I didn't get the show right, but I got the comedian part right.
No, you had the
Was
show
he-
right at the start when you were riffing on
Yeah, I
Seinfeld.
know. I was just riffing on that because the Heitner thing. But I did say, was he a comedian turned actor? That's almost like a gift.
That's pretty good.
That's almost like that's a cipher from the heavens. I mean, this was a game full of nonsense.
Yeah, it
and I
was-
somehow prevailed. I think
I have one more that
I didn't master in 80s sitcom acting. This was a very in-depth plunge. I would guess that Norman Lear couldn't tell you the name of those guys.
Yeah.
Probably auditioned all of them. Go ahead.
All right, I have one more just for you, Fred. Amani Bates.
Oh, Amani Bates is a basketball player.
Yes, he is.
He was a high school star.
Yes.
He's on the Cavaliers?
He's a two-way player on the Cavaliers. He's got a two-way contract, which means he basically spends time in the G League.
Amani Bates made the NBA.
Well, no. He's played maybe 12 games in 2 years. He's technically signed by Cleveland.
You know the story of Amani Bates? He was the best player in the country, and his father started a high school for him in Ypsilanti.
Oh, yes.
And completely ruined the kid's life.
Yeah.
All right. If his dad just left him alone, he would be in the NBA right now. But his dad started
in Memphis
meddling.
and moved back to Cleveland. It was bad.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Our friend Andrew Callahan will join us. You guys think my knowledge of these 80s comes far deeper than it is. If it was designed to make me feel bad, congratulations, mission accomplished, Adam. Now you can let that sit on your conscience. How many cans are you going to have to pick up to cure that? All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
game last night, and this one was not pretty.
Up top for Lorai, fumbles it out near the blue line. Forced out of the zone by Sillinger, who comes up ice. He's got a man coming down the middle, and they score. Justin Danforth with the Blue Jackets' second shorthanded goal of the night. It's 4-1.
That's Ryan Johnston here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Columbus Blue Jackets scored a pair of shorthanded goals on their way to a 5-1 win at TD Garden. The visitors were up 3-0 after the first period, and then that pretty much ended all the suspense for the night. The Bruins are 8-9-3. They're off until Thursday night when they host the Utah Hockey Club. As for the Celtics, they'll be in the building tonight to play Cleveland in a very good early season matchup. The Cavaliers are 15-0. Grandy and Max will have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. This is also another pool play game for the NBA Cup, and the Celtics need a win badly if they have any hope to advance to the quarterfinals of the tournament. In other team news, Peyton Pritchard is questionable for tonight with a sprained thumb. Kristaps Porzingis has also reached the next phase of his recovery. He'll practice with the Maine Celtics and begin to ramp up his activities. Patriots visit Miami on Sunday, and with a 3-8 record, The Athletic is reporting that many around the league believes that the team's staff is safe. And last but not least, less than a week after being released, Tyquan Thornton has a new job. He's signed with the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the Nines. 4 new hearty full-size entrees like the roasted turkey dinner, available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston plays here.
Pritchard, half court, it's in the air. He got it! He did it again!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Defensively, obviously the receivers were a huge issue for us, and you never want to give up big plays. That play to Cup definitely hurt us as far as momentum and things like that in the game.
It's Ryan. Good job, Ryan, because we're going to get right into that. That is Gerard Mayo, of course. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. By the way, Ryan Beaton, if we haven't announced it, is a new member of the show. Ryan Beaton. So you have Nicholas, Ryan, and Adam 12 in the other room. So one of you are probably gone because of budget cuts, so we'll see which one it is. We'll just play a game. I kid. I hope not. All right, so there you go. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. All the lights are on, so that means Nicholas is up to making videos over there that you can find on @Toucher and Hardy on Instagram. Our friend Andrew Callahan is the Patriots reporter, columnist for the Boston Herald. He joins us in studio this morning. Hello, Andrew. I might want to turn on your microphone.
Fred, you got to turn his mic on so we can hear him. You silly goose.
Well, this got off to a good start. So, Andrew, thank you for joining us. All right, we played the clip from Mayo. I don't like to dig way too into X's and O's, but there was some controversy that in man, Christian Gonzalez was not mirroring Nakua and Cup during that game. A lot of teams or some defenses play their best corner just on one side of the field. I don't know why they do it, but there whatever reason is. What were the stats when Gonzalez was on those two receivers, and what were the stats when he wasn't?
So stepping back for a second, as someone who was critical post-game and then this morning in my film review of the game plan, I want to say two things. One, they take a lot into consideration, not only the matchups, motions, plays, when they're building this game plan. Number two, everyone's entitled to a whiff. This, I believe, was a whiff. And here are the numbers. When they were in man-to-man coverage, which happened on 16 of 27 dropbacks from Matt Stafford, Christian Gonzalez was covering either Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua on fewer than half of those snaps, which to me, right away, that's a mistake. He's got to see them. And you could say, oh, well, if he was always shadowing Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp, you would know he's in man. The Patriots have done this season. Jamar Chase, week 1, where he followed him, usually an indicator pre-snap that they're in man-to-man coverage, and then they dropped into zone. We talked about it here on this show, so it's not always an indicator. When Gonzo was on Cooper Kupp, or Puka Nacua in man-to-man coverage. Matt Stafford went 4 of 7, 36 yards, and a success rate of 33%. Really good if you're the Patriots. When he was covering Tutu Atwell or Demarcus Robinson or a tight end, Matt Stafford against man-to-man coverage, 6 of 9, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 66%.
Yeah, but that's inflated by that 169-yard touchdown over Jonathan Jones, right?
Yes, but we can go 5 of 8 for 2 touchdowns and a success rate still above 50%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it doesn't really matter at all, is what you're saying.
Take that one out of there. It really doesn't skew the.
Do you feel better, John?
Well, before the game, I thought this was going to be very tough for the Patriots just because of the coaching and quarterback advantage in terms of experience. Do you think that some of that came into play there? Do you think maybe they were like over concerned about McVay?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I chatted, and there was a small group of us on Thursday with cornerbacks coach Mike Pellegrino, who I brought up, hey, you played man coverage at this insane rate at Chicago. Worked out great, 71%. You're just going to do a lot more of this. And his response to me was, well, look, when you play man-to-man, you know you're going to get these man-beater concepts, whether it's traffic or rub routes, whatever it might be from the offense. And McVay had a ton of those. He had a ton of good ones, including stuff in motion that will affect them communicating, hey, if we're going to switch here, who do I have? And so I do think that even though they played a high rate against the Rams, 59%, they were a little too concerned with that versus we need to stop their 2 best receivers because that's the whole offense.
Okay, so to me, that's the silliest thing to say, well, we had success doing this against Chicago. Let's try something along those same lines against Los Angeles. Like, why would you think one would translate to the other?
Because they shut down a good receiving core in Chicago. And I think you don't even have to go to the same 71%, which they mixed some man in zone. But they played more double teams against DJ Moore than they did against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Who's throwing the ball?
But
there's the other side of that equation.
But this goes back to the McVay problem. Do you think they thought, well, we had that on tape, and now McVay can? I just thought that I'm really sticking on this because I do believe it's true that when you're a young coach and a young staff, that you saw it against Belichick all the time, that you can kind of outthink yourself. Mm-hmm. And do you think maybe they thought that we'd done this against Chicago? It's on tape.
Well, they also did it against the Jets, and that was more my point to Coach Pellegrino, is to say, like, hey, your 2 wins recently. You play a ton of man coverage. Your offense is running the ball better. That's kind of the formula, right? Like mid-season, you know who you are. And I would say, as someone who focused a lot on, early in my career, all of the disguise and you got to fool them and this and that. No. The goal is not to make sure they don't know what you're in. It's to make sure that you stop them. Mm-hmm. Like, you go back to that Super Bowl against the Rams 6 years ago. You can watch the old NFL Films clips, and McVay, after the first drive, goes, are they in that quarter structure? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're in a 6-1 front. And the Patriots never got out of it and hold them to 3 points.
Okay, so this is something else, and it's really more of a macro question, but the ability to switch and make in-game adjustments, which...
That was my issue.
Okay, so, and I've been told over the years that sometimes those can be overrated, especially halftime adjustments.
Yeah, because they don't do anything at halftime, right?
Yeah, right. Okay,
Have an Uncrustable call it a day.
Is that maybe where you're seeing some of the rookiness come out in Gerard Mayo as head coach, and in what we thought of him as being able to be a defensive head coach, really showing up in game where something's not working and they don't really change?
This is how I put it in my column post-game, Hardy, because I said, okay, best case scenario, this is just player arrogance. We believe in Jonathan Jones so much and Marcus Jones, just as we did in Chicago, and both of them showed up and shut down those receivers, that they can do it again. Or it's coaching conceit in a worst-case scenario where it's like, I see all this evidence in front of me, but I know better because I'm the guy. I'm the head coach. We know better. This is the Patriot system. This always works, even though the Rams go for a touchdown, then another touchdown, then a field goal before halftime, and they come out for another touchdown and another touchdown. And I go, I think your best corner should probably spend a little bit more time on their best receiver. And you know what? They finally did on those last 2 drives. Cooper Kupp got 2 catches on Christian Gonzalez for 9 yards, and they punted both times, and that's how Drake May got a chance to come back.
Overthinking or not realizing what's not working, I'm not sure. But the fact that you don't have your best corner on the best receiver until that late in the game is just – it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and there was some
Jets
of that. Again, there are a lot of considerations.
No, they do.
Yeah.
They did it when their defense was good. Sauce Gardner stayed on one side of the field. I don't know why.
Overall, their defense was
Yeah, on paper. Yeah.
And there are benefits to that, right? Like, okay, he's going to be on this side of the field. We know that we can tilt the rest of our coverage over there and get more of a numbers advantage. But Sean McVay early in that game played a lot of wing sets where they'd have two tight ends in the boundary where Christian Gonzalez was the whole time. And they're like, we'll just put our two receivers on the opposite side. And you have to stay there because you're in base defense. So you need a corner on that side. That's how Kupp scored his first touchdown. It's how Nakua got a 37-yarder at the start of the third drive. And then a touchdown against Jonathan Jones. That same formation. That was it.
You know who's big on Cooper Kupp being has-been? I'll give you just a quick guess. Who can I not stand who said at the beginning of the season Cooper Kupp was done? It's a long list.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you.
Lombardi? I don't know.
Hey!
Kaboom!
Well
Nicely
done.
I'm surprised he actually made
took a side
an analysis of some like a specific player on a team that was not directly involved with Belichick.
You think I'm no? Everyone who's not directly involved with Belichick sucks. Yeah. That's his whole thing. He's like because he's got something in his mouth.
Oh boy!
Would you want a Mike Lombardi in your corner though? We're like.
No.
Everyone else knows he's not a reliable narrator, but like that guy is.
No, for the same reason you don't want Jim Gray in your corner because everyone knows what he's
You
doing.
don't want him as your hype man.
No.
You don't want.
Yeah, I don't want a drooling idiot as my hype man. I mean, it go if you have someone savvy and like smart that's kind of manipulating the narrative. That's one thing. If you just have a lapdog that's vomiting up a bunch of garbage,
How many people in the industry take him seriously?
No one. And that's the thing is that even Mad Dog, when he has him on, is like, all right, Mike. Like, and I think they like each other.
So I do not want Michael Lombardi.
He's on McAfee. He's on Simmons. That's
why I asked. So he's getting those big checks for his guest fees.
Yeah,
I don't think he's getting the Aaron Rodgers $1 million to do McAfee.
He's entertaining for all the wrong reasons. That is why he is on. He was entertaining when he was on with Felger last Super Bowl. I mean, this station lasted a week on that interview alone.
He's like the fat lady in the Marx Brothers movies. Like, he's just a foil for people to play with.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You could be entertaining and still not be taken seriously.
Yeah, you get the uptight fat lady and you let Groucho go on her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he gets her all riled up. All right. And another thing I'll ask you, this will be the one segment where we analyze the strategy of the game. I'm not a huge fan of doing that, but on the radio, I like reading about it. But did they take enough chances? Were they aggressive enough? They kicked the field goal instead of going for fourth and two. Mm-hmm. And but it led to it being a one-score game. Your feelings on that? Your feelings on not kicking the field goal, the 55-yard field goal? Sosi was saying the wind was crazy. What were your thoughts on those things?
So the 4th and 2, to me, was the most egregious of the errors because Gerard is saying, okay, if it's 4th and 1, I might change my mind. And I'm like, look, you're one of the most conservative in-game coaches in the league. We talked about this before. Like, what do you have to lose? This season's about development, it's building culture, making the calls to say, we're going to go for this. I believe that you can punch them in the mouth and get 2 yards and get a touchdown. And we'll take the lead and we'll make this comeback. Go get it for me. He didn't do that. And I get that you want to sometimes take the points here and there, but I thought all together, all of those decisions said, I'm not coaching scared, but it's something a little bit closer to that than the aggressive coach that I think he wants to be.
Okay, and I'm curious about this too. They don't take the 55-yard field goal. Sosi said that end of the stadium before both kickers were having trouble.
Sly hit
weird
a couple uprights.
So I was watching the flags at that end of the stadium. These are flags that are like the very top. No one is sitting higher than those flags at Gillette Stadium. That indicated the wind was at Joey Sly's back, the Patriots' back, because they were kicking towards that end. But the top of the field goal post, where you've got those little whatever's dangling down, those were very still. So I don't know if the wind was different high up versus 200 level versus on the field, but all the indicators that we had were conflicting. So I just have to trust what they said down on the field and what Bob picked up because he's at like 100 level. So he's
Bob just had heard that like after the game. I don't think Bob like saw it. He said he didn't see it. But my point remains: if you don't have a kicker that you trust to make a 55-yard field goal,
well, he had shaky warm-ups to that end of the stadium.
No, I know,
that
but
was like right on the line.
But it might have been my point. Yeah, thanks, John. It's true. My point is not like was it the right decision. My point is if it was the right decision, Why is this guy your kicker?
I would just, and the other part of it is, isn't it funny how guys like Brandon Aubrey, you don't have to worry about any of that. Go ahead, go out and make it. You'll be fine.
Well, that club used to have 2, and now it's got 1 because it was Brandon Aubrey and Justin Tucker. Now he's making like 70% of his kicks.
Yeah, Justin Tucker had a rough
I think they're rarer than you would expect. Granted, it is a time in NFL history where 50-yarders have never felt easier. I think they took into consideration the warm-ups, which maybe that's not predictive, maybe it is, and the wind, which, as I told you, I'm looking at 2 things generally pretty indicative of what it's like down there, and they were telling me in the press box 2 very different things.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. Let's just take a moment because I didn't balk at what Fred said. Like, if you have a kicker who can't make a 53 or a 55-yarder, get rid of him, and how ridiculous that would have sounded 15 years ago. Yeah. Like, that was still a mammoth field goal. Now it's just what is
and we're still talking closer to 50-50 than, what, 80%? What's the confidence level that you want for a guy to go attempt that kick?
Okay, but I'm also going to ask you, how much do you flip the field in that plays? Like, when you punt, like, what's the that's where the strategy comes into play, is like how much of the field
Didn't
I'm
the punt
flipping.
go in the end zone?
Yeah, if I can pin him at the inside the 5,
and it didn't
I
happen.
guess. But if I can't pin him inside the 5, it's 25 yards, it's 20 yards.
Yeah.
Like, what am I talking about here?
Yeah.
And, there's at that point in the game, I don't know. It just that I'm the only one, so I won't harp on it. But to that to me was the most fascinating decision, is because if you watch around the NFL, like, guys are going 60-yard kicks. Like, people aren't passing up 55-yard field goals. It just doesn't seem to happen very often, at least what I see. And the Lions are booting them out of the stadium. Go ahead. What are you looking at?
I was just trying to pull up what the down and distance was there, too, right? Because if it's not, go for it. And I have it. Yeah, it was 4th and 13. Yeah. So that to me is, you take, obviously, the 4th down attempt off of the table. Yeah. Then you're talking about a field goal. And you're going, if this is a 50-50 shot, okay, then the expected points that I would get out of this is 1.5. The downside being, I put an offense that I think had just scored a touchdown and run a sort, no, they had punted, with short field. It's early in the game where I can't get too critical of that. If we're talking a little bit later, and that's a kick that could have put you ahead in a late spot, then I give it a little bit more weight. To me, the field goal that was more damning, or the non-field goal, was the 4th and 2. Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this to me wasn't a coaching decision. It was just interesting that they didn't think that the kid could take the kick. All right, very good. We'll be back. We are only one segment away from 2 stats and a lie.
People plan their weeks around this.
Yeah. People seem to enjoy the segment.
Oh, and I kept the stats from last week. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Don't even have to.
Yeah,
you know,
just
standing.
Fumble around and.
Yeah, you get your lever, everything out of there.
Yeah,
you get your compass.
Oh, I got it.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Probably just a lack of execution. Even yesterday, you look at it, we're in a short yardage situation and then get a penalty, you have to move back or a tackle for a loss, and then, things kind of change. But we just have to be better. We have to be better on protection. We got to do, as the field starts to contract or shorten, look, there are other players in the box, and we just got to be precise and execute.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Adam, what is this?
It's a band called the East Hills from, I want to say, Indiana. It's got Doug Gillard of Guided by Voices playing the guitar there. Of course. Throwing down the tasty licks.
Did you notice the sweatshirt today? Got the Guided by Voices sweatshirt.
That's like
today?
a Descendant sweatshirt on me. I'm not going to notice it. Yeah. I can't begrudge him that. Go ahead.
All right, I wanted to ask Andrew a question. It's about expectations about the Patriots, and we're complaining about the fact that maybe Gerard Mayo got out-coached and they should have done this, they should have done that. Earlier in the season, we entered every week expecting them to lose. They made a lot of mistakes. None of us were upset about that. It's to be expected. They blew it up. They're starting over. But now, thanks in large part to Drake May, we look at a game against a mediocre team, which is what the Rams are, and we think, damn, this was a winnable game. If nothing else, the expectations from the media and the fans have changed here in the last month.
Yes. What's your question?
Why is that? Will it improve? Are they on their way to something, or have they plateaued here?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think what Drake May has shown is that he will take
he negged you, and then he came in. That was very mystery method. Go ahead.
He will take the Patriots as far. They will go as far as he will take them, right? And that means getting close to a comeback like we saw. It also will mean throwing interceptions at the end against Tennessee, and obviously now against the Rams to lose a game, which amazes me. And I don't think this is even unfair that he throws a pick at the end of a game, and everyone's going, but didn't he play great? We're all mesmerized by the last play in regulation against the Titans, and then it's his best game yet against the Rams, and that's what we're focused on. I think that's totally fair. But it speaks to, if you can just get him a little help. And you got some help offensively. Kendrick Bourne was good. Hunter Henry was good. Demario Douglas had a lot of yards and catches.
Jalen Polk gets worse every week. He's no help at all. I don't think he should play again for a while, but that's another situation. Continue. Sorry.
It's just that defensively, the issues were so fundamental of okay, what do you do? What do you need to do to stop the Rams? Okay, cover Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. That's about it. And they didn't do it. So that, I think, was the most frustrating part. I think your reminder of hey, when we were talking preseason, they could be 2-15 is a good reminder to kind of keep your feet in the ground when everyone's so frustrated and going, oh my God, and I'm writing columns and everyone's like they got out coached. That's frustrating. But at 3-8, they're also pretty much right where they should be.
I think they're better than I thought they were going to be. They're better than I thought they were going to be. And
I didn't think May would be this good this fast. No chance.
And then Drake May has been, we'll get to Drake May. Drake May has been a revelation. I can't understand how any Patriot fan would be upset about this season at all. Just where are you right now in his progress?
Yeah, I wrote a column last week that was okay, this is what I got wrong about the Patriots. And the number one item was I thought it was short-sighted to play him.
So did I.
Behind the league's worst pass-protecting offensive line.
So did I.
And I do think he's been an outlier as a rookie quarterback who can not only overcome that, because it's not just about the mobility, he can scramble it and bounce around. It's the reads, it's the processing, it's the growth he's shown, even the footwork stuff, the most boring parts of the job. He's getting better at all of those. So for me, yeah, we can call him a 22-year-old rookie quarterback, but the way he's functioning is at least a league average quarterback, and the flashes that he shows you says, I will be top 10 one day, and I firmly believe that.
Let's talk about leadership. A lot's been talked about that. It's a huge part of the position. Buy-in from the team is a huge part of the position. You're around. What's that like in your opinion?
Yeah, so not to reference another column I wrote last week, kind of inside
that's why you're here.
At dinner that Drake May took the offensive lineman out to on Monday. The offensive linemen typically get together Monday night. It's usually a steakhouse. So he joins this week, takes his brother Luke, who was in town, and they had just beaten the Bears. He's picking up the check. It was a local Boston area steakhouse, and they had a great time. They were
Sizzler.
We watched.
Outback is actually in Randolph. But,
yes.
Okay.
We didn't watch as much Monday Night Football, the offensive lineman told me, as we normally do. This was super engaging. And they were excited to hang out with college basketball superstar Luke May and get to know Drake. But to me, that said as much like, oh, we picked up the check, and this is the thing you write about the quarterback after a win. Like, it was meaningful to them in a way that has to be meaningful to us because they're at the dinner. They're ones reporting what happened. And it said, according to them, brought everyone closer together.
No. The plays that he's making, you talk about his development, whether it's footwork, whether it's the reads, but some of the plays, and I was just looking at one that you had retweeted, where the blitz is coming, he goes back in the pocket, he's off, so he's kind of going back into his right, he goes off his back foot, throws left across the field, finds Demario Douglas, and that's one of those passes. It's probably ill-advised. It's one of those things you wouldn't want your rookie quarterback to be doing unless you can complete the pass. And the blitz is coming. He's going to get a hit. He finds one guy, maybe the one guy who is open on that play. I'm not looking at the all 22 here, but those are impressive. Those are things I didn't expect to see from him at any point this season. And he's doing them not every week, but enough to where you get that. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I know they lost, but it's going to be good.
You know what I love about that play, too, is it's not he knows he's going to take a hit and he absorbs it. Like we saw that in the preseason. It was I'm going to wait until the last second to do something with the kind of trick around the arm or sling it over there, do this off platform in a way that's effective. It's not in a way that says, I'm a rookie, let me show you how big my arm is. Let me show you all these trick shot throws that I'm making. This is all in the name of winning. And he even said
on the
this
way
week,
of making a play.
Right.
Yes.
For the point, like the point is to win. It's not to show you what he can do. Stuff that like Josh Allen came in here 2018, 2019. Devin McCourty's telling me recently, like we didn't even guard the check down because we knew he didn't want to throw it. And that's what you're doing when you're preparing for a quarterback. You're getting into their minds to say, how do they want to play? How do they want to win? As Drake May goes on and on, yeah, again, he's still 22, but the mind that you're studying and watching is of a more mature player and prospect. And that's not from July and training camp until now. This is from his first start in week 6 against the Texans to what we saw on Sunday.
All right, two weeks ago, Kendrick Bourne did not play. He was aware he wasn't going to play for a long period of time. KJ Osborne played, really wasn't noticeable at all, except for that one catch where he stepped out of bounds first. This past week, Osborne is benched. Bourne plays and plays well. Now we have another game coming up this week in Miami. I just referenced Jalen Polk, who I don't believe he was targeted and committed an unforgivable penalty on 4th down and short. Where does the wide receiver carousel stop? Well, might we see Osborne and Bourne in and Polk out this week?
I don't know. They not only just have an investment, obviously, with the second-round pick they spent on Jalen Polk, but every time Gerard Mayo talks about him, he says he's going to be a good player in this league. He's going to be a good player in this league. And it doesn't matter if you disagree. It doesn't matter if I disagree. They need to make this work. So I think Polk is going to get the longest run out of anyone. I would be surprised if KJ Osborne, just based on his production, has any kind of meaningful role in Miami. But I think the fact that Kendrick Bourne, after getting benched, has 5 catches on 5 targets for 70 yards, and a touchdown, and those yards were more than all of the other receivers combined, says, well, I can't sit him.
Yeah, why was Bourne benched?
That was part production and play and a conversation about we have to play the kids. And I think we talked last week, too. I think they gave him, or not him, but KJ Osborne, they threw him a bone to say, hey, you basically sat 2 of the last 3 games out. We like your professionalism day to day. The young guys can learn from your example. But if you're not going to play, that might sour. So we'll give you a shot. Let's see what you can do against the Bears. He did nothing. So now you're like, well, this is self-explanatory. We gave you a shot. It didn't work. And when Bourne came down, they were like, we'll sit him. He bounced back up.
All right, so Tyquan Thornton, this is kind of interesting, was picked up by the Chiefs.
Of course.
McCole Hardman was picked up by the Chiefs last year after a disastrous time with another team that I won't mention. And
but he didn't do anything for him.
No, he just was the hero of the Super Bowl.
Oh, I forgot about that. Where did he come from again?
Well, I don't say it because everyone gets mad at me, but it's the Jets.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
They get mad because I follow that team very closely. And then, so it's happened. It's happened before.
It's going to happen. He's going to right. He's going to make it.
I was going to say if you have to put, but if you had to put odds on Tyquan Thornton having a meaningful role in a postseason game, what would you put them at?
1%.
Oh, that's an upset right there.
Well, okay. Well, McCole Hardman had at one point been a relatively productive NFL player. Tyquan Thornton has never been.
Okay, so better question is, what are the odds that Thornton makes a big catch to help them win a game from now until the end of the season?
5%. I mean, come on. Like, we've all watched the Tyquan Thornton experience, right? And this isn't just the Patriots overdrafted him, which they surely did. We all said it in real time. You can go back to that.
No
draft.
one got taken
It's
in
done.
receiver after him that was any good, except for the kid from Georgia, Pickens.
Pickens, yeah, 2 picks
That
later. Right.
everyone said hey, why aren't they taking? Why is Pickens not off?
They
the
got
board?
a kid from Indianapolis too. They got taken right after that. It's pretty decent.
You noticed right when Tyquan Thornton went, there was a run on receivers, and they all
are
managed
better than
to
all of
be
them.
good to average. Go ahead.
I will say, though, as much as we saw the Tyquan Thornton experience, he started throughout training camp, a couple of preseason games, week 1, if you can believe it. He was not in the best place towards the end of his tenure here and expressed to them, I don't mind if you cut me. So I'm curious, as a guy who's not only in Kansas City catching passes from not Patrick Mahomes, but their scout team quarterback, who's just a little bit more refreshed, can use that long speed. Maybe he does bounce back, but I just – what would tell you that we should bet on that aside from just the comedy of it?
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's it. Not Tyquan Thornton.
Right.
Just Andy Reid scheming something up, like a 5-receiver set.
Yeah.
And him getting lost in coverage.
Thornton
and,
takes a slant and runs 70 yards
You know what?
for a
If
touchdown.
it does happen, it'll be week 18. They're chilling. They're playing their backups. I don't even know who they play in their finale. It's the Broncos or the Raiders or the Chargers. And he'll get loose and have one catch.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about you saying that is the relief of the Kansas City media when they lost that Buffalo game. That the reaction from the Kansas City media was like, oh, God, thank God. Because that was the concern, is that they would be going to week 18 chasing a perfect season, and that would become the whole thing.
At Denver.
Yeah.
And then all the things that come with that. Because that's an older team at a lot of positions, and so the idea is you get 2 weeks off.
Oh, yeah.
Like that you get the 2 weeks off going into the playoffs and how valuable that is. But you can't, if you're going for a perfect season, you can't do that. You got to play to win that last game.
How did you feel about that? Because Felger asked me on TV the other day, and I remember watching those 04 Patriots being a kid, and I was like, that kid is long gone, but he still lives somewhere in my heart. So I hope that the Bills win on Sunday and beat the Chiefs, because I didn't want to see them break the Patriots' streak of most wins in a row.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever with the Patriots part of it. I just want Buffalo to get something. Buffalo deserves something. It's very hard for me to root against Buffalo. There's no arrogance to Buffalo. They know exactly where they stand. Like my friends that are Buffalo fans are chewing Vicodins and like doing shots and passing out before the game.
Bills Mafia is aggressive, but they're realistic.
Oh, they're terrible when you're an opposing fan at their stadium, but it's almost funny.
They understand.
Just from an entertainment standpoint, I feel like I've seen the Chiefs movie a couple of times
Yeah.
now. It's probably the way the rest of the country felt about the Patriots after so many years.
Yeah,
It's like I don't need to see that again.
And Travis Kelce, and it's not Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is fine. Travis Kelce is a for his
Kelce
own
doesn't
good.
even bother me. The
he
podcast
bothers me so
The
much.
podcast with his brother bothers me, but as a player and like actually I don't mind watching him play.
It's not that. It's not that. But you don't. That's not the issue. Him playing, of course, is not the issue. It's the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl that's the issue. There's an overexposure. The only person that could handle the overexposure was Peyton Manning, because he's especially charismatic and funny. Like, for an athlete, him and Charles Barkley, like those are like kind of the two guys off the top of my head I can think of that could have been comedians or could have been actors, like stars. Anyone else, there's a level of exposure where it's too much. But we have to get to two stats and a lie. Let's not waste everyone's time. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
Brings me, though, to my two stats and a lie. Two of these stats are obviously the truth. One is a lie. Some imaging with this would be fun.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald's here. It's two stats and a lie, where he gives us two stats involving the Patriots. Three scenarios, two are real, one is not. But the big thing is get this off and play the real theme.
Let's do this. It takes two stats from the other night, and one might see you can get it right. It takes two stats from the other night, and one might see you can get it right.
All right, Hardy, what are the statistics so far this season?
See if these match up with your numbers, Andrew.
Okay.
Fred is at 4-5. He missed a week, so John and I both have one more competition. I am at 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
John 1-9. Andrew Callahan 20-9. So
Wow.
20 times he has fooled someone on the show. Only 9 correct so far.
Yeah, I feel a responsibility to get one right today. To get this
You
going
feel
a
a
little
responsibility.
bit. I kind of like you always losing.
Oh, okay.
Fits your character.
Yeah.
Big loser.
Lovable loser, John Wallach.
Yes, indeed. All right. He's the Ziggy of the show. All right. Go ahead. What do you got for us? I'll try to remember. I don't like writing them down.
I
Let's
do.
go. Yeah, I know you do. Go
Two
ahead.
stats and a lie. These are shorter this week.
Good.
Number one, excluding quarterbacks, Ramondre Stevenson remains the only Patriots with multiple touchdowns this season. Excluding quarterbacks, Ramondre Stevenson remains the only Patriot with multiple touchdowns this season. Number two, the Patriots have one win at Miami since the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots playing at Miami this weekend. They have one win in Miami since the Obama administration.
What terrible times those were.
Number three, Drake May has more career touchdown passes than our pal, Scott Zolak.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus.
Number three, Drake May has more career touchdown passes than our pal, Scott Zolak.
So Stevenson touchdowns, winning in Miami, and career touchdown passes with Zoe. All right, I went first the last 2 weeks. You guys fight it out who wants to go first. I'm going last today.
John, you
right.
have something.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you've got it.
I do. I hope so. Probably not. Drake May does have more career touchdown passes than Scott Zolak. I believe that's the case.
Did he say it on the air?
No.
That'd be
he
funny if he kept track of that.
he does.
Rooting against Drake.
You know he's checked. But no, I think Drake May does have more touchdown passes than Scott Zolak, who was a backup quarterback, started a little bit during those really bad years in the early 90s, but I think he does have more career touchdown passes. The one win since the Obama administration tracks, I was at that Miami game where they returned the multilateral for a touchdown to win at the end. They've lost all sorts of games in all sorts of fashions there. So without thinking about it too much, what was number one again? Ramondre
Stevenson, excluding quarterbacks, Ramondre Stevenson is the only Patriot with multiple touchdowns.
I'm going to go with that one. Number one. Without thinking about it too much,
That's
number
the
one.
lie.
Number one is the lie.
Okay, that's a lie. I mean, it makes sense. Patriots can't win in Miami. Patriots can't win in Miami. We're talking about 9 games. Are they 1-8 in those, or is it only 8 games so far? I'm going to go with that is the lie. I think they have 2 wins in Miami. I'm going with number 2.
Well, this works out perfectly because I think Zolak had that one crazy-ass game where he was throwing it all over the field.
It was against Indianapolis.
And he was jumping up and down, and Parcells was making fun of him.
And the finger guns working.
So say he threw 4 touchdowns in that game.
I don't think that happened.
I think it might have happened.
Okay.
So I think.
Where's the music?
And that was a different era. They were airing it out. I think Zolak has more touchdown passes.
Run and gun, baby.
Than Drake May. I really do.
All right.
I think they probably played about the same amount of. Zoe probably played more games. So we've all picked something different.
Oh, good.
I'm almost positive I'm right.
Okay.
But go ahead.
He's been waiting a long time for this. John Wallach.
Oh! Got the lie.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Nice.
So I gave Zoe too much credit.
Anyone want to guess the lone Patriot with multiple touchdowns, excluding quarterbacks, aside from Ramondre Stevenson?
It's not Hunter Henry.
John has brought him up twice in this hour.
Drake May.
No, excluding
No,
quarterbacks.
excluding
You didn't even understand the question, and you got it right.
I do understand the question.
Jalen Polk?
Jalen Polk.
Wow.
2 touchdowns.
Oh, my
That's
God.
Yeah.
Ramondre is 6.
Losing streak is over.
Well, the Ramondre, one of those was a game winner. So, I mean, listen.
Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got
Is this new?
1 line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's got 1 line. Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 line. He's got 1 line.
I like it, but get more complicated. If you're going to have him do them, get more complicated with them. It's funnier to me.
He did this on his own.
Well, it's good. I like it. But what I like is when he's got to figure out how to keep on time. Like, that was a very easy one for him to keep on time.
That was beautiful, Fred. Come on.
I liked it.
I loved it.
But he was also, like, deliberately singing that way. The beauty of the It Takes Two one is that he can't figure out how to get the words in on beat.
That's my ringtone. That's my new ringtone.
You know how to
I
do
need
this,
that.
Nick?
Someone send that to me, please.
Look at Nick knowing how to work this stuff. I'm the only one here now that does. John and I are the only 2 people that don't know how to do this. All right, Andrew Callahan. Well done, John. Well
I
done.
just got a congratulatory text from Dan Roach. That's how bad it is. Good way to go, John.
Boy, he listens to the show a lot.
He does.
Hey, screw Mike Lombardi, hype man. Dan Roach, number 1 in our
Yeah.
hype man
Oh,
draft,
yeah.
right? By far.
I mean, yesterday, someone was. Who insisted on talking about field hockey?
That was me.
Oh, yeah, the Watertown field hockey team.
Yeah, and then Dan was like, "Oh, that program's great."
So that brings you to 22-10.
Yeah, let me run down what happened with 2 and 3, and then do you have the new standings, Hardy?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Number 2, the Patriots do have 1 win at Miami since the Obama administration. This one is very close. They won in September 2019, giant shutout. Before that, it was January 2017, right before Trump's inauguration. So they have 1 win since Obama left the White House. Number 3, Drake May is up to 9.
You know what? I was actually thinking about that.
The Michael Floyd block.
Early January games would still count in the previous. Yeah, okay. All right. Whatever. It didn't help me.
Number 3, Drake May does now have more career touchdown passes than Scott Zolak. All due respect and apologies. So May is up to 9. Zoe, according to Pro Football Reference, had 8 over his career, and that includes 8 years. 7 in New England, 1 in Miami.
Okay, you don't have the Pro Football Focus thing up now, do you?
No, I do.
Didn't he have a game where he had multiple like a
2 or 3?
Didn't he have a game with over 2 touchdowns? I don't know if you
Keep
can find
stalling
it in
for me.
time. Yeah.
What are the new standings?
Fred is now at 4-6. I dropped to 4-7. Wallach 2-9.
Yeah.
Andrew Callahan 22-10 on 2 stats and 1 line.
Andrew has 2 stats, but he has just 1 line. Andrew has 2 stats, but he has just 1 line.
So Zoe led the Patriots to a big 24-21 win over the Niners in December 98, just before Christmas. He had 2 touchdowns and 205 passing yards.
Okay.
But you're talking about a game with Parcells.
Yeah.
So that one was under Pete Carroll.
The Indianapolis game I was telling you about, where he had the finger guns everywhere.
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
2 touchdown passes.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh,
I think that's
leave
his
it to
career
him
high for a game.
Leave it to him flipping out over 2 touchdown passes. With the way he was celebrating, I thought it was like a Ken O'Brien like a performance, but it was not.
Oh, that was 92. Wow, this is a great game for Zoe. 20 of 29, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. passer rating a 105.7.
Yeah, I knew he had these great
At
games.
the Colts.
All right, hey, Nick, I want you to make a song about something in your life every week. A little song like this. Like a little 30-second song about something going on in your life every week. I want to debut it. It's not a whole segment, but if you know how to do this, this is a good thing for you to keep exploring. I want you to make a 30-second song about your life. 30 seconds to a minute song about your life every week. And you got to say, come on, girl, in it at least one time.
Oh, God. By the way, one of only 2 wins the Patriots had that year. That's all.
92?
Yeah, not 2-14 under Dick McPherson that year.
He's better than Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. We have another guest. There's lots of guests because there's so much going on. The Celtics, everyone's going to be watching them tonight because they're playing you're fist bumping like he told you beforehand.
No, he's been in my corner. After last week's show, he's like, maybe I should just signal you what
I said I'd give him a Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
And then he's got to decide. That didn't happen, to be clear. Nothing happened. The man got his second win in 11 weeks.
The fact that it was even discussed puts soils this whole exercise.
Don't ruin this for me. I got it right.
You ruined it for everybody.
You got to be a little cooler.
Because I got it right?
No.
Because you were talking about cheating.
You got to be a little cooler than
Joking.
fist bumping after a victory. I mean,
John
we gotta,
doesn't joke.
Wow. Sore loser club. Got 2 new members over here.
No, I'm glad John won. I really am happy for him, but I don't like the fist bumping situation. It was very off-putting. All right, we got to go. Jared Weiss, they're playing an undefeated team tonight. We'll talk about it.
Come on, girl!
You're listening to
98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
A really bad night at TD Garden for the Bruins. They lost to Columbus 5-1 last night. The Blue Jackets had a pair of shorthanded goals and 28 saves from Elvis Merzlikins in net. Bruins have lost 3 in a row. They host the Utah Hockey Club on Thursday night. The big story of today, the Celtics. They got a big game to play tonight at TD Garden. They'll face 15-0 Cleveland, but Peyton Pritchard really doesn't care about the record.
I mean, maybe for some, but not necessarily for me. Every game we play, I'm excited, so it don't matter if they were 0-15. I'm going to come with the same mentality.
This is the second game of pool play at the NBA Cup. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Getting back to Pritchard, he has been listed by the team as questionable with a sprained thumb. Drew Holiday is ready to go. Kristaps Porzingis remains out. The team announced yesterday he'll practice with their G League team as part of the next phase of his recovery. Patriots players have today off. They'll practice tomorrow. They visit the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. Former Patriots wideout Tyquan Thornton is signed with the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. And the Houston Texans last night blew out the Cowboys in Dallas 34-10. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your clogged drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
The biggest names in Boston sports. Talk to Boston's Home for Sports.
Jason Tatum joins us outside the Celtics locker room.
Jim Montgomery, coach of your Boston Bruins.
Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla.
The games, the players, and your favorite shows. On air, online at 985thesportshub.com and on the Sports Hub app.
Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy, and we're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And Adam 12, a lot of people asking for the playlist. Adam curates the music for this show. None of us are involved in it. He takes a lot of time doing it, and people want to, even though this song sucks. But it's him. I don't tell him not to play it.
This one was actually a listener suggestion, and also one that Esoteric brought to the table a few weeks ago.
No, I'm aware. Esoteric didn't hit home runs with everything.
No, but some of them were good, and I kept them in rotation.
You can do whatever you want over there. But anyway, my point is he's going to put that on 98.5thesportshub.com. He's going to start putting, him or Nick are going to start putting together a playlist.
I'll get to work
seem
on
to
that.
Want that. Jared Weiss is the NBA writer. He's the guy for The Athletic. And he joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hello, Jared.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
You're giving me a little bit of an ASMR feel right now. I'm not gonna, don't laugh all over it. It's creating a buzz in my head. Jared, I'm interested in tonight's game. The first question they're playing the undefeated Cavaliers. My first question to you is, how are the Cleveland Cavaliers 15-0, which is something. I mean, this is now something. Winning 15 games, your first 15 games is something.
Only 4 teams in NBA history have gone this far.
Yeah, and I don't mean to state the obvious, but I don't think it's like they're a bad team now. And I made fun of them at the beginning of the year when Hardy was talking about them, so that's on me. Why is Cleveland undefeated?
It's not nothing. You know, it's more than just a fresh coach and they're a little bit reinvigorated. They've changed a lot of how they play. A lot of their top players are young guys like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. These are guys that are kind of on the cusp of becoming perennial all-stars if they took that next step, and they're taking that next step. You know, Darius Garland was kind of disappointing when the Cavs came to town at the playoffs last year, or I guess not disappointing if you were a Celtics fan, but he didn't have that kind of like that control of the game that you would expect from a player of his skill set. It was a lot of Donovan Mitchell controlling things, and then Darius Garland would just kind of like clean up when there was opportunity. And he's really in the driver's seat now, and that's a big difference. He's shooting the ball well. He's kind of just doing everything with more force than what he was doing last year. And then Evan Mobley, kind of a similar thing offensively, where he's now finishing through contact. He's even running some point guard now, which is crazy because he's 7 feet tall. So they've gotten more offensive versatility. They're just playing better overall. Their defense is still solid, but their offense has really taken the next step. So that's why they've been so good this year.
Jared, talk a little bit about Cleveland's shooting, which is beyond words good. I think they're, 42% from three as a team?
Yeah, they're having one of the best shooting seasons we've seen. And it's, this is probably going to cool off a bit, but also Max Strus, who's one of their specialist shooters, has been out. He right now he's like coaching the team. They were actually giving him credit for coaching up their zone defense in their last game. So, they still have more guys that can contribute. Like they can get Dean Wade more health. They can get Donovan Mitchell even more involved in the offense. Frankly, like there's more that this team can do, but they're already shooting really efficiently, and that's probably going to come back down to earth as the season goes on. It's there's not a lot of teams that shoot 42% from three, but they have a pretty clean lead over, the league right now in that regard. And I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. And so they're probably going to continue to be one of the best teams in the league as long as they stay relatively healthy.
So that's tough when you've got as many guys playing as well as Cleveland has and shooting at that percentage. What would you say the Celtics could or should do tonight defensively to slow them down?
Well, this is tricky now because a lot of what the Celtics did in their game plan against them last year isn't going to work as well. So, Joe Mazzulla's main focal point of that series was, we're going to let Evan Mobley get the ball on the roll, hit the paint, and he's probably going to score. But he's going to kind of make more of a finesse play at the rim. He's not going to draw fouls. It's going to be 2 points if he does score. Now Evan Mobley's better at drawing fouls. Their team is better at finding ways to get shots when you're taking the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands. So they're a lot tougher to keep the efficiency of their offense down. Like the math game isn't going to work quite as well as it did last year. But at the same time, the Celtics, they take 4,000 three-pointers a game now. So they're probably still going to have the math in their favor no matter what happens. I mean, they're legitimately averaging over 40, something like 45 a game or something like that. It's something crazy.
It's insane. Yeah. But you get into a shootout and I just feel like anything can happen. It seemed to make more sense for the Celtics to find. They are locked into their approach. We're going to take 1,000 three-pointers every game.
51.
We're going to score a ton of points, and almost every single night we'll be able to score more than the opponent. This is the one opponent where that may not work.
Well, 51 three-pointers a game usually works. It's funny how that's worked out for them. But you're right. They can't. So like most teams, and Cleveland was one of them. And Cleveland's taking a good amount of threes, but it's still like a pretty decent gap in volume there. But just like with the Cavs last year, the Celtics would just shoot through everything, and the Cavs would go on these runs, and the Celtics would just keep taking threes, and eventually it tended to work itself out because even a mediocre shooting night on 51 attempts is still going to end up turning into like 60 points or something like that. So the math tends to be in Boston's favor. They are relatively healthy for this game, so the Celtics have been playing so well this year. I think it's really just like, can their defense stay locked in throughout the game? That hasn't been perfect so far this year. There's double big lineups that the Celtics will often run. That works against Cleveland's double big lineups as well. It's going to cede a lot of athleticism, but they at least can match up pretty well against Cleveland. So I think if anyone is going to knock off Cleveland, it's going to be Boston.
All right, so just to get into like the macro of this whole thing. So the Celtics take 1 million three-pointers. It obviously works for the champions. Is this the algorithm now? Is this how the NBA is going to be for the rest of the NBA? Or is there a way to combat this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA goes through evolutions. The game in 1989 is not the game of today. Is the game 10 years from now going to just be the same thing, just people chucking up three-pointers 50 times a game?
I think if that's the case, they'll probably have made a rule change to try to combat that because it's been this way for a while. And the Celtics are not the first team to take this many threes or like have a major outlier from the league. Like Houston and Golden State 5 to 10 years ago, they were taking a massive outlier of threes, especially Houston. And people were complaining about it back then. The Celtics aren't really that different from the norm. I think now they're just a little bit higher frequency. I think that the major factors that could change things in the future are guys like Evan Mobley and Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, these 7-foot centers that also can handle the rock and they can make plays and they can shoot the ball. Once you have every single team with a 7-footer that can be your playmaker and your shooter, that'll change the way that teams play a little bit. And if every team in the league is taking 53-pointers, they might end up making some sort of three-point line rule change, because we saw last year scoring was like out of control. Teams were scoring 130, 140 points every single night. And after the All-Star break, they changed the officiating to get that scoring back down. And I think everybody's been happier with that.
Maybe move the three-point line 5 feet further out.
And it's not like that hurts the integrity of the game, right? Like, that's not even something that I would really think twice about. I guess you'd have to widen the court at the sides by the baseline or something, whatever. But it wouldn't. Yeah. It's not something like raising the rim. You know what I'm saying? That it wouldn't mess with the integrity of the game. People were alive when there was no 3-pointer. I mean, things evolve. Right?
Were they really though? Were they really alive without the 3-pointer?
It was before the internet, so it's hard to say.
That's true.
It's before pornography was this available. You still had to go to the woods back then just to find it like everyone else. Go ahead, John.
I wanted your opinion on how you think the Celtics are playing entering tonight. I mean, they lose to an Atlanta team without Trae Young. They almost lose to the worst team in the NBA their last time out. And in between those two games, there's a 25-point win in Brooklyn where they almost score 140 points. It's been a little uneven.
Yeah, if this is what a championship hangover is, I think it's pretty good. Like, they're still towards the top of the East. They maybe would be in first place if Cleveland wasn't undefeated. Like, there's an outlier team here that's keeping them from being in first place. So overall, they're looking good. Don't forget, teams do lose games. I know that's hard to remember if you're a Celtics fans, but teams do lose games at some point. Well, except for the Cavs. Like that Atlanta game, the day before, I put out this feature on the way that they're changing their team around Trae Young. And, if Joe Mazzulla heard you saying, how could you, can you believe they lost without Trae Young? He'd be very upset with you, because if you remember last year, Trae Young was out for those matchups they had in Atlanta, and Atlanta beat them both times because they're so good defensively without him out there. They've actually been decent defensively with him out there. So, Atlanta, they've got some really good young wings and guards that are bringing a ton of defensive pressure. But I think the common denominator in all those games is that when the Celtics turn the ball over, when defensive pressure gets to them, when teams get second chance points, that's when they become vulnerable. That's when any team becomes vulnerable. And so, the Celtics, like, they take a ton of threes to help mitigate those factors, because they usually have the 3-point math going in their favor to try to combat whatever might go wrong. Cleveland, unfortunately for them, is just really good at all those things.
You brought up Joe Mazzulla. Has Joe Mazzulla been less tolerant of your questions this year?
And by the way, Jared, I don't think it's fair to say that Mazzulla would keep receipts on something like that. That's not his style. to remember something that you said or something that the team did that he would bring up a year or 2 or 3 later. Right. How dare you?
That's right.
He's a modern day receipt keeper. I haven't asked nearly as many questions this year just because of my new role, but generally when I've asked him questions, he's been amiable and amicable. He's been amiable to them as well. He's only shut me down a couple times this year, so I think my success rate is pretty decent.
You know what the difference between Mazzulla and Belichick is? You know how they're both kind of gruff with the media? I think Mazzulla's way smarter than Belichick. How about that? How you like that? I think Mazzulla's like really smart and kind of like playing around. And I think you've had lunch with him, Hardy. What's your feeling?
No, I've had dinner with him.
My bad.
Was it
an early dinner?
Much more serious.
It certainly is. It's much more formal. I mean, that's when you want to hook up.
I mean, Mazzulla's a really well-rounded guy. Belichick is maybe the most brilliant football mind ever,
but whatever with that.
What else?
Yeah. So that's what I can tolerate Mazzulla's insolence the more I hear it, because I think it's coming from a place of like actual intelligence.
Yeah.
And real quick, I'm just curious, are the 76ers going to make the playoffs?
Probably. That's like I genuinely don't know at this rate. I mean, things should get better for them. They haven't had all three of their stars together yet. Like they will probably have those guys together for a good chunk of the season, unless Embiid gets suspended again or Paul George pulls another hammy or whatever happens. But like their guys have been out for midterm injuries. It's been a couple weeks here or there. They probably will all get healthy. They will probably figure this out. It's just going to take them a while. And as bad as they are, they're 2-11 right now. They have like the worst record in the East basically, but they're not that far from the playoffs. Like the East overall has been pretty mediocre. So there's lots of room for them to come back in the mix. They should be okay.
It's not just that. They have the worst record in the league at 2-11. And they're already 8.5 games behind the Celtics, 13 games in. I mean, they're digging a pretty deep hole.
They're 12 games out of first, that's for sure. All right, well, listen. Jared Weiss, thank you. And I guess you got a promotion, so congratulations on that, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah. Now you're like a head honcho. You don't have to worry just about dealing with Missoula's nonsense. You're traveling the country. You're covering everything. So congratulations.
I got to deal with your nonsense still, so it all works out.
My friend, and I do appreciate that. We do appreciate the time, Jared. Everyone read him on The Athletic. He's covering the whole NBA. He's going the whole enchilada. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, fellas.
All right,
Thanks,
there you
Jared.
go. Jared at the very beginning, very ASMR, that dulcet tones. He could have been an AM disc jockey back in the 50s.
Put you right out.
He's a modern-day relaxing ASMR is what he is. All right, we'll be
not
back.
in a bad way, not in a boring way, but in a way that really gets into your soul.
Yeah. No. I wasn't talking about him being boring at all.
No,
I was talking about the actual vibration, vibrato of his voice was pleasing to my ears. Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying that. I wasn't saying, when you said put me to sleep, I didn't mean his content was bad. I meant his dulcet tones at the beginning were very stimulating to the old ears. Fluto's got a little bit of that in him, too. He's got a little bit of that. You got headphones on. Everyone,
Really?
listen to us with headphones.
Really?
That's it.
Not earbuds, headphones.
And get me a mic so I can go ear to ear.
Fluto put you out, huh?
No. Like, he sometimes, if you talk, if you talk in a very anticipatory manner, does that make sense to you? Like when you're anticipating them saying something, and someone's talking like kind of like this, and then you wait for them to say something else, it can kind of trigger something in gifted people's heads.
Sure.
It's called, what do you call them? Chosen ones.
That's
the
you.
ones you turned your back on. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. Emails and everything else about that. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher.
We're Toucher and Hardy. Go to 985thesportshub.com. Adam and Nick got good. They're good. Really, they have quality content up there now, but you can also get all our email addresses. Please follow the show. I guess I'm begging at this point. I don't care if you follow us on Twitter. Toucher and Hardy, and then you can follow us on Instagram, which I enjoy our page, Toucher and Hardy. You can follow me at Fred Toucher on Instagram. I'm building a huge base. I'm telling Hardy now I'm looking to do a haul video, but it would have to be closed because I don't know how to edit video, so I'd have to get Nicholas involved. But I could, if you have anything that exsexuates, I just invented a term, exsexuates the bulge or the butt.
Got it.
Anything for men with small asses.
Ooh la la.
So you mail it here to the station. I'll do a haul video. I'll Nick sex it up. Don't worry about it. I do want to say one thing before we get to the emails, because this bothers me so much. It's about the media and politics. So will you give me 1 second for this? I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch any of it. Whatever you think my politics are probably not what my politics are. I had a guy accusing me of voting for someone, and it wasn't even the person I voted for. So whatever. I don't care who you think I support. That's not the point. Joe Scarborough and his wife there, that Mika woman, I can't pronounce her last name, who I find very attractive. Her hair. Something about her hair I find to be incredibly attractive.
Oh, that is a boyish cut.
But I find something about her hair. I find it like so alluring. Russell Brand was on her show one time and really had her flummoxed with his flirting. It's a very exciting thing. And then he goes, look at how you're holding that bottle. And she was kind of like moving her hand up and down on the bottle subconsciously. And she was like losing her composure. He was really ribald with her. They used to be friends with Trump before he was in politics. And they went to Mar-a-Lago, right? Mar-a-Lago?
Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
That's how much I follow politics. Mar-a-Lago to interview Trump, who's going to be the president of the United States. And people are mad at them for going to interview. Do you want to know why the Democrats lost, you lunatics? That you're legitimizing Trump. He's the effing president of the United States. That attitude lost you an election, you stupid idiots. Do you know why Trump is president? Is exactly that. You're so humorless and so protective. It's nonsense. They're anchors of a news station's morning show. Of course they should establish a relationship with the president. Don't you want to know? And then you bitch about all these right-wing sites and people that I don't believe anyone pays attention to, like dominating the media. There was just an article in the Boston Globe. It was interesting, or an editorial piece about how media is changing. There's a shifting of the media landscape, and everyone's going to these unsubstantiated sources, these unchecked sources. All right, so what do? You go talk to the president. If you're afraid of these other, and you know my feelings on Rogan. I think it's intolerably boring, and I think he's a terrible stand-up comedian. But everyone's all pissed off that 40 million people watch Trump on Rogan. Yeah, because Trump was on the show and talked for 3 hours. I listened to part of it, and I'm a moron. Of course they should go talk to the president, you morons. That is insane. How can you bitch about both things? Oh, no. Trump's not using conventional media. He's not using it. He's going around it. He's not being checked. But then, okay, so the liberal network goes, we're going to send our morning show to. They had a relationship with him. They can talk to him, and they can talk to him, and they can get information from him and share ideas. And you wave your finger at them? Are you out of your mind? You're going to lose every effing election for the rest of the time. They could run that Gates maniac for president and win. If you keep this up, you got to develop a little bit of a flexibility here and somehow get to some sort of reality. Boy, did that bug me. I do find her hair alluring, though. So I like she's in the
hair
news.
is good. I was hoping you were going to lean into that, but...
So there you go.
All right.
You got to pull it together. And you're going to send me a bunch of emails screaming and yelling at me, but just you screaming and yelling at me, I'm not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. But you have to come to grips with what's going on.
Have you considered branching out from radio consulting to political consulting?
No, this is media consulting. I'm still media consulting.
Oh, yeah, this is still a media consulting.
It's everything I just said was media consulting. The idea is that
no, you said you're going to lose every election, and you were talking about a specific
fair enough.
political
Okay,
party.
but the main point of it was that if you're if you're afraid of alternative, quote unquote, alternative media running the narrative, well, to combat that, you would find out the narrative, hear from the person, and then you could counter that in your programming. Or you could have a block of time on every network that had the news.
Oh, that's an idea.
And I don't mean to be precious here, but like legit, I was talking to my dad about this, and he's a huge Trump guy. I'm like, can you imagine if they had a 1 hour a day on every network where they just gave the news? What's the news? This is happening here. There's no editorializing. There's no spin.
There's no personality.
This is just the facts. We'll pick an old guy, old woman, an old person. They have to be old and trustworthy. They have to be dignified in their appearance. Race, creed, religion, gender do not matter to me. But we pick one person, and they get an hour a day where they legit just tell you everything. And then you're on your own.
And the news cannot include speeches. That's not news. Like somebody announcing the start of something, that's not news.
No.
Something has to happen. Something
Right.
that is new. It has to have taken place.
You would go, Biden has allowed the Ukraine to use U.S. missiles on Russia. And then you would go, the missiles landed here, there, and everywhere. And you would say where they landed. And then you would show footage of the missiles going off and such and such. And then you would go, Trump he had so and so. He wants him to be he's got a big forearm tattoo. He wants him to be the national security advisor, and you put him up and you say he spent time da 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 da, like line item, and then you move on to the next thing. Then everyone gets that hour, and then you can do whatever you want with that hour. You can go crazy, but there's an hour where just the facts are presented. And then you as a human sentient being can take that hour of information and wait. Form your own opinion in your own brain. And then you can go out and talk to others, perhaps others that don't agree with you, that you're friends with. And you can share these ideas. And perhaps ideas and ideas float in the air, and discussions are had, and
but you know why?
change,
You know why
and the
this-
world becomes a better place.
You know why this show doesn't exist on any of the networks? Because nobody would watch that. Nobody wants to know what's happening. People, secretly want to be told what to think.
Want a little flavor,
or they're going for confirmation bias in what they already think.
Yeah, because people are like pointing at like some long-form YouTube guys and podcasts, and they're like, these guys are, and not Rogan because he's more of an entertainment thing, but like these political guys, and I'm like, no one's watching this dork monotone politics for 2 hours. Get out of here. This is the same country that had 227 on. There's no way that a guy monotone dork is sitting there babbling about politics every day for 2 hours, and the world is consuming it. I got news for you. Oh, Adam's got his hand
Well,
up.
though, Ryan just shared what you described, I think, is called Bloomberg Radio. And that's right down the hall at 92.9 now. You should
No,
check
they
that
have
out.
an agenda. They're a financial company. They have a very fiscally conservative agenda,
Yeah,
which I'm good with.
Healthy economic America. Get on board.
I mean, you start making enough money, you'll become fiscally conservative too, baby.
All right, Artie, we get it.
I got an email.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that actually has to do with that. You remember Rock 92.9 moved off for the Bloomberg, and now we're on this weird AM station 1330 that apparently remember a couple weeks ago, Hardy, you got the email from the gentleman in Scotland.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a gentleman in the Netherlands saying that you can hear 1330 AM out of Watertown in the Netherlands.
That's great.
It's great.
That's
Really
why everyone should buy a radio.
expanding the base of Rock 92.9 in its many forms.
There is a beauty to just turning the dial and see what you can pick up on an evening.
Yeah.
when the sun goes down and the waves are moving.
Well, that's how a young Jodie Foster tried to contact her dead father at the beginning of Contact. CQ. Are you out there, Dad? No, he's not out there, you dummy.
All right.
Now, go listen for aliens.
You need to go to a different dimension.
Take a ride in a wormhole.
Yeah.
And then you'll meet Dad again.
Okay to go. I'm okay to go.
Hardy was sharpening pencils, which means to move on. So very quickly, Adam says, hey, guys, I think you missed a huge follow-up question. When Callahan was telling the story about Dre picking up the check at the steakhouse, did May order for everyone? Did he pull a Missoula and just pull out the thing?
Interesting.
The new Two Stats song that Nick did almost made me drive off Route 9 this morning. God, I love you guys. Thanks, Stephanie.
Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2
My
stats.
ex-wife.
But he's got
She's a big Nick fan.
lie. He's got 1 lie.
We have suggestions for Nicholas's next song.
Don't say them out loud.
Okay.
Just send them to me.
All right.
Yeah.
You got it.
Nick, I just found out Nick can do like actual production.
That was really good.
The big time production. He's got a huge skill set now. I'm not being sarcastic. So I said, Nick, let's get a produced thing out of you at least once a week. If there's 3 people that can produce things like that on this show, we should be cranking out production stuff.
Come on, girl.
And it's another thing I don't have to do. Go ahead. What?
We have a lot of Bruins hatred this morning. It
Go
is
ahead.
absolutely Don Sweeney's fault. They didn't lose in the playoffs last year from a lack of physicality. They lost because they had no skill and couldn't score. They acknowledged as much at the beginning of the offseason, stating they needed speed and skill, and then pivoted to get bigger and bigger.
Okay.
A lot of people upset at Don Sweeney more than Jim Montgomery this morning.
I think everyone likes Jim Montgomery and doesn't want to see him get fired. Fat lady from the Marx Brothers is from our friend Dave. She actually wasn't that bad. She acted like a prude, but was actually okay. Hardy would have loved her. David Weymouth. I often compare comedic foils, to she was great, but she was the heavy lady in the Marx Brothers films. And she was probably listed in some films as Fat Lady.
Yes.
As it was like the 30s, so get off my back. Like, I don't think duck soup was racially and generally sensitive.
You know what? There's something here I really don't agree with here. It's from Riz. Hardy, can you please tell the Birdman to get his beak out of his ass? The Cavs are not 15-0. They are 15-0. He's been stating this incorrectly for the past 2 mornings. Always a letter, not a number.
Okay.
A comma.
Riz is just looking to get his emails right at this point.
Pretty much.
He was saying people were bitching about my cool shirt, which was very controversial yesterday.
He's going a little nuts here last few days.
And here's
Love Riz, but
here is the danger of replying to too many emails, because you get in a rhythm. And you said cool. That reminded me of the email I got about our pants discussion. And the guy wanted to know what were the cool pants that you were talking about, KUHL. So I replied to him. I said, I haven't checked those out yet, but, I checked out these and these. He emailed me back. He goes, no. What were the pants other than the cool pants? Now you get into the back and forth situation, which I'm sure you've done, Fred. You send an email to somebody, you get a reply, and you think, oh, should I keep this going? Sometimes it keeps going, and next thing you know, you're just sitting around for hours every day replying to emails, and then you look like a dick for not replying.
If you're at the dentist with your daughter, that's a perfect time to knock out about 45 emails.
Okay, so once every 6 months, you reply to emails.
I got 2 kids, so twice every 6 months.
Oh, you don't do it? You don't schedule them on the same day?
Oh, no. Their schedules are too wildly different. That's why I'm in the car for 3 to 4 hours a day. And that's not an exaggeration. And can't wait until December when he's out in Groton, because then we can that will be a new full-time job.
Yeah. Frequent contributor to the show, Zach Zolo, sent me a good question I think we might address tomorrow, so I'm not going to read it now. But
ooh, the anticipation.
Oh, it's so good.
I have something for the stack that I think is interesting.
Okay.
It's about politics. No, it's about the movie shows and sex. How about that?
The movies what?
The movies and sex. And what's going on with movies and sex. I think you'll find there's a graph.
You said movies, shows, and sex.
Yeah, the movie shows. I'm a little fun. I have a little fun with it. I guess it's out of. Just try to keep up. I got a lot of fun words.
I was so overstimulated after the political segment.
I stand by what I said. It was bothering me. I needed to get off my chest.
Just keep it to you. Okay, just keep it to yourself next time.
Baby, if I keep it to myself, this ship's going to sink. Daddy needs to get his ideas out there quick.
Start a podcast.
You got it. All right, we'll be right back.
Sports Hub headline.
simply have missed from the show. It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment. Well, and The Stack is brought to you by D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches. Have lunch with a legend this week. D'Angelo's legendary number 9 sandwich, grilled sirloin or chicken smothered in onions, peppers, mushrooms, and American cheese. Only at D'Angelo. Have you guys noticed that sex in movies has gone down in mainstream films? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I was looking at one last night, and I kept waiting for the and it never happened.
Well, it's a fact. The Ringer has data for more than 40,000 films from the dawn of the millennium through 2023, and they put it in terms of ungraded, mild, moderate, severe, or no sexual content. Okay, you can make your own judgments of what that means. I'm not going to go through it. But the numbers of movies tagged as having mild and severe sexual content declined by as much as 30 to 50% from their peaks. But the number of movies tagged as having no sexual content has skyrocketed from less than 100 movies in 2000 to 400 to 500 in the past few years. Some of this is to be expected. R-rated movies have been in decline for years now. And you take your kids to an R-rated movie, right? The ones that aren't 18?
Horror movies.
Well, it's good you drew the line.
No, but I mean, well, this is. I don't know if I would take my just turned 14-year-old son to like a really sexually explicit R-rated movie. He probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Like I'm not talking about, but would you take him to an R-rated comedy?
I don't know.
Would you watch an R-rated comedy at home with him?
Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough. You would consume it. So I don't know why that's such a detraction for people. But I don't
want to make other theater goers uncomfortable.
Why? Like I'm not gonna take my daughter. I take my son to anything, but I wouldn't take. My daughter is the person I go to the movies with. Guess how many movies I've been with her?
27.
21. All right, go ahead. Why do you think that I don't know. This is just a theory, but why do you think that sex in movies are down? If you had to guess,
I would say the actors don't want to participate in sex scenes.
Okay, I think that's not valid. Go ahead. What is yours, John?
Hardy stole mine. I honestly think that you have a lot of people who don't necessarily like nudity as much because they consume it at home.
Johnny, that's my thing too. Porn, the availability of porn has. You look at it, the amount of people, younger people having sex actively is declining by leaps and bounds. I don't think sex scenes are necessarily universally relatable anymore, and people are fapping at home to pornography instead of having face-to-face.
I saw a video, I forget where this was, where they interviewed a lot of college women. This local newscast in Florida interviewed wherever they were, in Florida State, wherever they were. And the women on campus were saying they have a much harder time finding guys or getting it on because porn is so rapidly available to all the guys on campus.
I have a friend, let's say another state, not so much younger than me, went back to get a degree at a university. Oh my, the success.
Oh.
Throwing fish out of the boat. They were jumping into the boat.
Let me
because he was just like, I don't know, like no one wants to bang these chicks.
Let me give you something real quickly here from a study. The decline in sex scenes is attributed to factors like the Me Too movement, which I think would fall into my category. Actors don't necessarily want to, be a part of.
I don't know. You get Scorsese, you're doing a sex scene, but go ahead.
Increased awareness of consent issues. Changing audience tastes, the rise of readily available pornography, and concerns about global market release restrictions. That's probably a big one, too, where the other standards in other countries.
Changes in attitude.
But that would make sense for like a Marvel film. But if I want a blockbuster, like a Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct situation, I'll take my chances with Japan. I guess Japan wouldn't be the issue. Peter, go ahead. China, right? Peter, go ahead.
theory on branching off of the changes in attitude. What about the overall aging of the population? The average age being 40, the average 40-year-old isn't as revved up as a 30-year-old, you know?
Yeah, but movies are trying to appeal to younger people. As you age out of, I can tell you this, as you age out, as you get
But there's
older.
fewer young people.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that it's not that old people don't want sex in movies, it's that there's fewer young people to consume.
Right. So you're shifting, instead of appealing to a 12-year-old, you're appealing to an 18-year-old. You know, the whole thing is shifting older.
Okay, but I would argue if it's shifting older, then it would, because we grew up with those movies that had sex, like Basic Instinct and Fatal Attraction, that were phenomenons. I mean, those two movies were phenomenons.
Yeah.
So I think I would attribute it to porn, and that they don't make good. Believe me, as someone who goes to a lot of movies, they don't make very good movies anymore. They don't make a lot of them. And I'm feeding the beast. I've seen Twisters. I've seen.
I was so excited to see that. I never saw it in the theater. We finally rented it at home about a week ago. I fell asleep.
I saw Venom. I saw the Deadpool, and my daughter doesn't like these movies either. We just go because they have a soda machine that you can mix all the flavors with.
They have those in other places.
Where?
Like
Qdoba usually has one.
There's no Qdoba by me.
Nick says Moe's has them.
The Kelly,
yeah, Moe's has them, but I don't have a Moe's by me.
The Kelly's in Dedham has one of those mix-em-up soda machines.
I mean, that's literally why we go to some movies, is the mix-em-up soda machines.
That's a lot of time and a lot of money to spend just to get yourself a soda.
You got an evening, nothing to do at 7 o'clock. It's an hour and a half movie. It's less than a mile from my house. You go, you see Steve Burton. Everyone is all around him. You would think he was the Beatles. I'm not kidding.
I've seen it.
It's amazing.
It
People,
really is.
boy, if you want the value being on TV, can we get back on TV just for my sex life? It really ramps things up for you. I'm not saying that Steve Burton was with a beautiful wife, but when I see Steve Burton out, I mean, people just flocking to him.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's less than a mile from my house. My daughter and I are like, "What do you want to do tonight?" All right, we'll stay. It's $30 total, and then you go and you get your soda with you, put anything you want in it. It's very exciting for me.
No snacks?
Oh yeah, we get popcorn. She gets
There's
the
no way you're
margarita
out for
pizza.
$30 then.
$30 to get in. That's like the door. That's the door.
That's a cover charge.
It's the cover charge.
It's cover charge.
You get $30 for an hour and a half, 2 hours of entertainment. I'll take it. Plus the lady in the beginning. Do you guys go to? This is just gonna take a second. Do you guys go to the movies a lot? Do you know when they have the commercial for the Star Pass?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's the lady whose husband's talking, and she's like, "Why do you like the Star Pass?" And the guy's babbling on, and the woman can't wait to get in, and she goes, "Free popcorn." My daughter and I have fun with that. We go free popcorn, and then we go because she's saying it like it's funny.
Okay.
All right.
All right, man. I got to let you go.
All right, thank you. All right, that'll do it for us. Someone out there is going, I know the lady you're talking about. And now there'll be a fan forever. That'll do it for us.